Hi, guys. I'm going to give it a few minutes for some people to start joining. Hello. Happy Sunday. I hope everybody's having a good day and that their weekend has been good thus far. So I did have, hey Della, I did have a poll up to see what time today you guys wanted me to go live, and it kind of, I didn't have a ton of people vote, which is fine, but it was kind of between this afternoon and this evening. So for me, it is almost 3 o'clock. So I figured now would be a good in-between to try and allow people to get in that middle part. So I did film redoing my nails. Please don't hate me. It turned out just like my last set. I know It's Brit Glow recommended the burgundy. I was going to do the burgundy, but it turned out a lot lighter and I didn't like it. And then I was going to do gray with my iridescent powder over it. But the way that the black looked on the tester was so cool, and it ended up not pulling that way in the finished product. I'm in the process of editing that. I filmed it on my phone. I'm in the process of speeding through the parts that's repetitive for you guys. Otherwise, the video itself is like an hour long. And I know nobody wants to sit through an hour long of silence, because when I went into that video anticipating I was going to fast forward through those parts. So there's no talking. You maybe hear dogs playing in the background. So I am in the process of that. It's the first time I'm really like sitting down and having to edit it all the way, a video all the way through to upload it. And I want it to be as good as I can. So it will be up tonight. I'm just not sure when. I'm sorry it wasn't up yesterday. I'm not going to talk about what exactly happened, but something got my attention in my personal life that I had to address before I could even film doing my nails. So it got put off to today. And that is what it is. So we do need to talk. And this video is either going to be really hated or people are going to be neutral. And I've kind of tried to stay away from bringing my old profession into the I Stand with Sophie stuff. However, with the way things are going right now, I want to provide like seriously a middle ground and explain things from either perspective. And this could be a pretty lengthy conversation. I'm going to try and keep it short. And if you guys have any questions, the chat's open. Please provide your take on stuff. I am really going to try to be careful not to upset people. And I'm not taking, this video is not taking a side. Will I provide my opinion throughout talking about this? Absolutely. However, the main point of this is just to allow people to think critically, because I'm going to talk about the situation from my professional experience. And I know there's not a lot of you, there's not a lot of people here, but people are slowly trickling in. So if you have anything you want to talk about until maybe a few more people come in, just so I'm not having to repeat myself. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually publish this video, because I don't know while I'm talking about this how I'm going to react, because parts of this stuff, when I talk about my personal opinion, is not going to be nice to some other creators. I'm just being honest with you guys. Sorry if my desk just shook. So I'm sure everybody who is in here and who may come in and may leave are aware of the I Stand with Sophie hashtag movement that has been going on. It has been publicized all over the place with good reason. Let me say that, with good reason. And before I even talk about anything, I am going to say I'm still maintaining the aspect of believing the child. However, I'm going to provide information that is very neutral. Not necessarily, Della. What I'm going to provide is going to be, it can go either way. And I'm not, like I said, talking about this, I am going to get very worked up. And if I'm not like trying to be aggressive towards you, but I saw Sloan's video, and the way he reacts emotionally is totally opposite of me. He gets very upset. I get very riled up. So if I talk more aggressively towards you guys, it's not because I'm aggressive at you or like in my response. It's just because my blood is already like starting to pump quicker. Okay, Toads, it's okay. Don't feel like you have to chat. I don't even know if you want to listen to this first thing waking up, because like I said, I'm probably at points going to get a little frustrated. So we all know the story. First things first, I believe the child's disclosure. As of right now, my personal gut feeling is to believe her. However, if you very carefully listen to my videos where I have discussed this situation, I have said we need to be careful. Because unfortunately, in nasty divorces, have I seen stuff like this happen where a parent is tricking a child? I have. I don't know if that's what's happening here. Like I said, my gut feeling is that that's not what's happening, because we have all seen the video of Sophie. She is not a 5-year-old who is easily convinced. And although some people who are against the dad or are trying to say that they want to report on the dad and not the child, no, you're going to stop that. Like, they need to stop that, because this is about the child. This whole story is about the child and what could have potentially happened to her, or what has happened to her. Can we talk about the parents and their ridiculous immaturity and how they're handling this situation? Absolutely. But you cannot get on a large platform and sit there and tell me you just want to talk about the parents. No, you can't. You cannot come at this story and not address the child. You can't. You sound like a freaking moron. Because we are all covering this for the sake of the girl. Not because of the parents, not because of what they said. Has this become known because of a parent's actions? Yes. We have all seen footage that puts both parents, depending on how you want to look at it, into question. So, and I'm going to say this now, I'm probably not going to be really focusing on the chat just to get through this, because I don't want to continue to get mad over and over and over again, because every time I talk about this, I end up pissed off. And I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. I am so pissed. And I'm not just pissed at Katie. And is part of me pissed off at her? Yes. That is why I have said from the beginning, and why every time I have posted on this stuff, it's been after a court date when we can actually get information from a freaking judge. Not from people deciphering what they want to decipher, how they want to decipher it, from the internet. I have not been on any Facebook group. I am not dogging anybody who has been, or who has been trying to collect information from those pages. I just haven't. I am not on Facebook to that degree. I do not claim to be an investigator. This channel, when I cover topics, is for my opinion. However, I have professional experience, and I have kind of left that out of the majority of my coverings of this, because we don't know. My dog's next to me. I think I'm getting too worked up. Have I, in my professional career, seen very unfortunate situations where parents try to turn children against each other. I have. Have I ever seen it to this degree? I have not. I'm not going to lie to you. That video of Sophie crying for help, could it have been manufactured? Honestly, it could have. Do I think it was manufactured? No, I don't. Her emotion in that video was genuine. Does that necessarily mean, and this is terrible, and this, I'm not saying this is what I believe, but does that mean that it was the person that the father is saying did this to her? No. Do I think that she has been the survivor of some kind of inappropriate behavior? I do. Because her emotions and her reactions in that video were so genuine, no matter how much a parent coaches, and I'm not saying choose coach, I'm just going with this for a minute, how much a parent may coach a child, if you are a professional, you know how to detect if the child is coached or not. I can guarantee you, I have interviewed children and have known that they were coached because I am trained to know how to tell and how to question children in making sure that what they're telling me is accurate. So her genuine response in that video leads me to believe that she was inappropriately touched by someone. Am I going to accuse it being Mr. Jake? No, I'm not. I'm not going to say it was. I'm not going to say it wasn't. That is who she said did it. I am not the investigator on this case, so I can't tell you if that's who did it. But she definitely has experienced some form of abuse or neglect. A child would not cry out like that had they not of. And as Sloans and myself and people who are genuinely in this for the child and are willing to focus on the child and not cop out, you need to be able to make that realization. She is the center of this. Absolutely, children have been coached. You can tell when they're coached. She's 9. She's not 5. I don't know, like her, if we're going to go with the story that Michael coached her, he needs to be coaching some A+ actors and actresses because he taught that girl how to flip it like that, didn't he? To me, it would be asinine to think that she was coached in that original video that made this go viral. Did the father put it online? Yes, he did. Can you question his parental choices? Yeah, you can. It is questionable. There are legitimate questions that could steer either which way as to why he posted this online. You could argue the battle either way. You could argue he's a bad parent because he's allowing his child's story to be out there. You can argue it the other way. He kept trying and nobody was listening to him. He had nowhere else to go but the internet. That argument can go either way. Honest to God, it can go either way. You can argue it being in the favor of Michael or against the favor of Michael. So, I mean, unless we are in it and knowing everything that's in front of us, we are just taking information as it comes out. I think people who are trying to remain neutral and just provide the information and their opinion and support Sophie probably had like the better intentions. Not saying anybody had bad intentions, but went about covering this story the appropriate way. So let me get a drink. So, I'm sorry. So, hey, Jay, I see you. I'm kind of not focusing on the chat while I get through all of this. So, yes, what did you miss? I agree. Her emotion, state, body language were genuine. Nobody at the end of the day wants to believe that this could be fake. Could it be fake? It could be, but I really don't think it is. Like, if we really boil it to the initial thing that got put on the internet was that video of Sophie during the exchange. Those were genuine emotions. You can say what you want. Those were genuine emotions. And, what has happened since can be looked at under a microscope from either person. And, I'm not trying to pinpoint any creators or talk about any creators when discussing this, but it is one particular creator who has a large platform. We all know who I'm talking about, who Paisley Ann, do not. Sorry, my dog's in here. Lost my train of thought. Who put it on her platform pretty much saying that this is all construed for money. So I think up until that point, there were people who were questioning, who were maybe critical thinking this scenario. And you can pick it apart to think that the data is lying. But again, you can play it from both sides. And that's kind of what I'm going to do. And we're going to talk through it. And I'm going to provide my professional experience on both sides to show that it can go both sides. And I know I'm repeating myself, but a lot of people have entered in and are coming in, and I really don't want to have to continue to repeat myself because I get mad every time I start talking about this. So I'm going to run through the chat really quick to catch up, and then we're just going to start over and head in. You agree, Mary Jean, that her emotion, state, and body language were genuine. It's lacked signs of coaching, being distruthful no matter what the situation. She is a victim. Absolutely. She is a survivor no matter what. She has experienced some kind of abuse or neglect, point blank, period. Argue me otherwise. She has been stuck in the middle. She is the oldest, so she has been stuck in the middle of this divorce. I will always believe the child. Something has happened to her, in my opinion, but I would have to wait and see what the ultimate outcome in court is. Thank you. Thank you. That is what I've tried to do. But at this point, like, two large YouTubers, not even just two, one main large YouTuber has come out and has refueled this fire. Everybody was fine with just covering it as it is, but somebody, and I'm not saying her information's wrong. It could be right. But so could everybody else's. She was so frustrating, feeling like she wasn't being heard. Hey, she's talking about the Sophie case, KJ. Yeah. It's okay. I'm here. Okay. Thank you, Jay. I'll appreciate that because this is going to be the last time I'm going to start over. Are you a social worker? If you explain, I am a social worker. I have never explained what I actually did, but work in child welfare. If you listen to this live, you will very easily see what I used to do. We should not be dragging these people. We should leave it up to the freaking judge. I'm going to try not to curse. I really am, but if I slip, I'm sorry. Don't have your kids around you. Hey, Amanda. Hello. Hey, Marina. Planting flower bulbs. I do not have a green thumb. Okay, so let's start and get this out there. So we all know Sophie's case. From the get-go, there's been multiple Facebook groups. Apparently, like I had mentioned earlier, I have not been on any of these Facebook groups. I'm not on Facebook like that. I can barely keep up with my personal Facebook, let alone this channel is a commentary channel when I'm discussing like popular topics and stuff like that. Otherwise, I try to be an awareness and an educational channel from telling my personal story of being abused and neglected as a child, going through adoption, and the way adoption affects you even as an adult. So I have personal experience with being abused and neglected. Personally, I have never been sexually assaulted or sexually abused. I have worked in child welfare for 2 years. I'm not currently. I did work in child welfare for 2 years. So I have a lot of professional experience and knowledge. Have I come across in my history of my profession people in a divorce utilizing their children against each other? Yes, I have. Have I had parents try to coach children to push the narrative that parent wants? Yes, I have. Have I had parents try to use the system to gain custody? Yes, I have. Have I had parents call in reports that maybe were not accurate? Yes, I have. For all of those yes, I haves, there has been a story behind it. Have I ever seen it to this extent in my profession? No, I have not. Does that mean it doesn't exist? Absolutely not. It does not. However, I have seen what a child who's been coached, how they behave, how they answer questions. I've interviewed children who have been coached and who have not been coached. You are trained, if you are in that profession, you are trained on how to talk to children and how to get to the truth. If you can't manage it, you have resources through your state, like forensic interviewers, who do. The fact that this child has been interviewed by so many forensic interviewers, I have said this in my other videos, is concerning. However, in the court, the last court thing that was public, it was stated almost verbatim that if she was to be interviewed by a forensic person again, to make sure that they were trained and they had the education they needed. To me, that would state that the people who had previously interviewed her that were forensic interviewers didn't have the credentials to do so. Am I saying that's what happened? No, I'm not. I'm saying that that is what that statement in the courtroom alluded to. It is disgusting that this little girl, that I guarantee you has been abused or neglected to some extent, is having to retell any hard parts of her childhood over and over and over again, because these parents are fighting against each other. That is 100%. Am I putting the blame on either parent? No, they're both pieces of shit, in my opinion, dad included. Do I believe dad? Do I think his intentions were probably in the right place? I do. Can we turn the story to make it against dad? Absolutely. Because it's all shit on the internet. The only stuff we can take verbatim as it is court documents. Until somebody can hand me the court documents for me to actually read through, I'm not going to believe one way or the other. I am going to stand with the child and believe her disclosure. Everybody should be doing that. This boils down to the kid. So, with that being said, the video is where it started. That child's reaction to me was genuine. So I'm not saying that the person who is being alleged, this Mr. Jake, is the one who did it. That could be coached. However, her genuine visceral reaction was not a coached reaction. I have never seen a child act as good as she can. She needs to be on some Billboard movies if we're going to say she's a liar. And if you are saying that you don't think this happened to her, you are calling her a liar. You cannot sit here and say, I stand with the child, but it's all on the dad, it's all a lie, it's all misconstrued. That is a contradicting statement at its best. So I think she's been, my personal and professional opinion at this point from that video is that she has been touched inappropriately. So we go from that to then the dad putting up this GoFundMe and raising money for lawyer fees. That's what we were told it was. I don't know what it was. Nobody knows what it was. Can you speculate? Absolutely. Anybody can speculate. Is it worth speculating about? Not necessarily. Yes, it's a ton of money. I agree. Yes, people donated to it because they thought they were doing what was best for a child. If this turns out that that was a fraudulent GoFundMe, doesn't GoFundMe pull the money from that individual? Aren't there like policies and procedures in place for stuff like that? I don't know. I've never used GoFundMe. I've never donated to a GoFundMe because I don't know how that stuff operates. Okay, so we have that stuff. That's silly filler stuff. We have some YouTubers come out, myself included, with videos providing our opinions on the situation, blah, 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 blah. One YouTuber is very vocal about not believing the kid and thinks that she's bratty, which, whatever. I'm not going to address that again. Okay, so we have already started polarizing stuff because this is a topic that can be polarizing. I don't know how, but it is. Then everybody goes quiet for a while. Now we have this video that comes out the other night, and you guys can let me know that this YouTuber is the only one to kind of come out totally against this situation. I know I'm not keeping up with the chat, guys. I'll go back and read it. But this YouTuber wanted to say that it is possible that the child was coached. Again, I don't think the child was coached. Professionally, like from the view of that video, it doesn't look like she was coached. She's a very good actor. Can parents coach children? Yes, they can, but not to that extent, not in my opinion. It was also brought up that the father's parental rights were at risk of being terminated without court documentation. I don't know if that's true. I highly doubt that, though, because if a court is going to take away the rights of a parent, typically that parent is already restricted on their visitation with the children. It doesn't appear his visitation was restricted. Not from what information I've been gathering and what I have seen, it doesn't seem that way. Were they maybe trying to reduce his like share time? I mean, that's definitely possible. And this information that they were bringing up about the dad's mental health was so long ago, so long ago. He could have gotten help in that time. I mean, that's none of our business to judge somebody's mental health. The next issue was the drug tests and the children potential or a child being positive for a drug test. And I don't know how to really talk about that because there's mixed information out there. In the way that where I worked would go about drug testing, it was an automatic response. It wasn't a hair follicle test. It was a P test right then, right there. And I knew the results within like 2 minutes. So I don't know if Texas does only hair follicle or, you know, if they do urine tests. So I don't know about that. However, professionally, I have worked where parents want to claim that one or the other, when there's divorces like this, it is typically each parent calling in on the other household, to be 100% honest with you. So although we are only hearing that the father continued to make these calls on the mom, we don't know if the mom has made calls on the father's household. And if she wants to sit there and claim, here is devil's advocate for you. If you want to sit there and claim that dad is out of his mind and is planting all of this stuff and he is the danger to the children, why the hell were you not calling CPS? If you want to claim he was the dangerous parent and he was the one not protecting the children and he's the one coaching the children, why were you not calling CPS? Why was only he calling CPS? because both parents, like I said, they're both kind of pieces of crap. Right now, in how I'm viewing all of this, they're both pieces of crap. They both could have done more. They both could have gone about this way better than what they've chosen to. So there's stuff about the drug test. I'm not really going to cover that because I don't know how Texas operates. I don't know how their CPS operates when it comes to that. We can go ahead and talk about the law enforcement welfare check. We have to keep in mind that this was done back in May? Is that what it said? Any kind of law enforcement agency, you can always call in a welfare check. These are very different. People don't understand what a welfare check is, I don't feel like. Could the dad have been utilizing law enforcement in a way he shouldn't have been? Yes. Maybe he did call CPS and he didn't get the answer he wanted, so he called law enforcement. Because it's almost automatic that when you call law enforcement for a welfare check, they have to go do it. They have to go to the home and verify that the individual they are there for is okay. Law enforcement, you have got to keep in mind, although you see stuff on TV, they cannot enter a home without probable cause, even if it's for a welfare check of a minor. I said this in another live. CPS actually has more reign over that than law enforcement does. I have personally been able to get into a home when law enforcement has not to check on the well-being of a child before. It's weird. Does it make sense? No. But is it how our effed up system works? It is. It is. So this video, I have seen both edited versions. We need to keep that in mind. The one that's shown for defense of the mom and the one that's shown from the dad, they both look edited to fit that narrative, to fit the pro-mom narrative or to fit the pro-dad narrative. You need to look in the middle. Like overall, law enforcement, as much as people are judging law enforcement and how they handle that welfare check, that is how they have to work. They have to side with whatever the parent is saying to get them to talk to them. Otherwise, the parent is not going to talk to them. Could that parent be spewing BS to them? Yeah. There is questionable behavior in how the mom acted. And you can't dismiss that just to fit whatever you're trying to put out there. It is weird that the mom wanted to totally blame dad. It is weird that mom was weird about giving her driver's license. They're at your house. They already knew your name. It's just for their records. Why are you making a big deal about it? You know, and I haven't seen the full length video because I'm not going to those efforts. I have not wanted to talk about this case like this. I wanted to continue to talk about supporting the child and letting you guys know what was coming of the court stuff. So I'm kind of going to back up a little bit because I started talking about it and then I got sidetracked. So there were concerns that the father was at risk of losing his parental rights. And like I said, I don't necessarily think that that's the case. Was he maybe losing some custody rights and like share time? That could be possible. But I don't think he was at risk of losing his parental rights until there's like actual documentation reflecting that. It takes a lot for a judge to take the rights of a parent away. I have seen cases worked where a child is out of the home and away from the parents in foster care for years, and the parent is not working their case plan, is not making any kind of betterment of their lives or their situation, and it takes years for the courts to finally terminate their rights. It is a big deal to terminate parental rights. It is a lot easier to reduce time sharing. So there is mixed information as far as that goes. And then we have to really think about it. A judge put in place a no contact order based off of supporting and protecting Sophie. So there was enough information there that a judge felt comfortable saying, nobody can come near this child unless it's a male relative. Then we have the judge who puts the children in the father's care. If he was so off the hinges, the judge would not have put him in the father's care. The judge would have picked a third party, a family friend, a relative outside of both households. If there were legitimate concerns for both households, the judge would not have put the children with one of the parents. Point blank, period. Now, have some very crappy things come out with all of this? Yeah. I mean, there have been people being threatened. That is not okay. Anybody who is in this chat or watching this or rewatching this, if you are hard one parent or the other, please do not threaten people. Do not dox people. What benefit does that really have? Because at the end of the day, whether you think this child is happier with one parent or the other, this child is still better off with both parents. Unless a judge states otherwise, the child is still going to have a better life with both parents rather than just one parent or no parent. And the way some of you are acting is atrocious, and it's not in the better interest of this little girl. I mean, that just needs to be said. Everybody's saying, oh, you're doxing. No, stop. Like, we are adults. If you are talking about this, if you are in this movement, no matter what way you're for it, you care about the child at the end of the day. You either care that the child has been affected by a mom and her poor parenting decisions, or it's the opposite and it's the dad and his poor parenting decisions. Either way, both sides care about the child. So let's stop saying we need to talk about the parents and blah, blah, blah. No, let's talk about the child. Okay, let's focus on what everybody actually is here for. Like, I get she's a minor. I get people don't want to talk about her. I've talked on my channel numerous times how I don't like minors to be on the internet. However, this story has gotten so out of hand, you almost have no choice but to face it front on and talk about the child. I'm not going to address this 3 men, 4 men, whatever in the hotel room. I'm not even going to address that because, again, you can play it both ways. If you can't tell at this point, 40 minutes in, I can play devil's advocate for one parent or the other. I can continue to do this for you guys. For each scenario, I can continue to do it because it all depends on where you stand as an individual. Does that mean if people are supporting mom, they don't care for Sophie's safety? No, it doesn't mean that. They still care for Sophie's safety. They're just pinning everything on the dad. And vice versa. That's why I'm saying both of these parents are crappy. They both have made crappy decisions. At the end of the day, we need to make sure that we are standing behind the child, which is what the hashtag is for, and believing her disclosure and doing everything we can to make sure the truth comes out. Providing death threats to either person or anybody involved is not going to benefit the situation. And I know I have more comments and thoughts, but I'm going to try and catch up on the chat really quick and see what you guys are providing. Okay. Her life is now on the internet. The internet never dies. She will sadly be the Sophie girl from the viral custody case. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. And that's the same thing with the Stoffers and what they have done with that child. That's why it's not a good idea to put situations like this out on the internet. However, if the dad didn't have a voice and was being ignored, I understand why he did it. And even the judge said that in the last hearing that was public. That judge, she specifically stated she understood why a parent may go to the links that they had. Thank you, Della, for promoting people to engage. I appreciate that. You agree that the parents are crappy? I mean, I'm not saying that they're bad parents. They both have obviously made poor parenting choices. You're curious to know what her hospital visits revealed, because after the hospital visits is when the father got custody, but not clear if it's permanent or temporary. It's just custody right now. Like, people need to, in my opinion, people need to stop trying to use terminology. I've had this talk many times. People need to stop using terminology they don't understand. It's just custody right now. He's utilizing his time sharing. Yes, the judge put them in his custody right now, but they have not amended any court document as far as I am aware of, as far as custody goes. She was allegedly assaulted in the hotel after court. And there's reports of her having medical issues after she came back from mom's. Okay, I do want to talk about this, actually, Jay. This has been brought up before, and I've never talked about it because I wasn't talking about it from a professional standpoint. Unfortunately, there is something called, Munchausen's by proxy. And I'm not saying that that's what the dad is utilizing, but I have worked cases with that maltreatment before, because a parent is so convinced that this is actually happening, and they are trying to convince the child that it's happening, and they are trying to get medical professionals to back that up, that they will actually take the children to hospitals, to doctors, to try and get the outcome that they're looking for. Do I think that's what's happening? Not really. But we can't really judge on that without knowing what did come of all of these medical appointments. So I have seen it actually go in the manner of a parent trying to get the answer they're looking for. The dad is going, what did I do? The dad is going hog wild now that he has a little bit of upper hand, and he did not send the two sons back to the mother. Now he is trying to go with the public support and keep all three 24/7. I'm 100% for the privacy of the child. For example, not using her legal name and showing her image. I don't ever show images. I did use her name, but her name has been so publicized at this point that I don't think, personally, at this point, I don't think it's going to have any effect. I do agree, and I've talked about this with the Stoffers situation and stuff. I do agree that once everything comes out and this story is like finished, done, we know the outcome, I would hope most people will private that stuff or go through and like change their titles and bleep out her name. I know that's a lot of work to do, but I mean, that's something I will probably do. The first and last name should have never been viral. I wonder who leaked it. So I'm pretty sure the dad did, because he's the one who, and I might be wrong, this is just, I'm speculating, but he's the one who uploaded that video. And I think we all knew he was the one who uploaded it. We knew his name, and he talked to the child in that video. So we had her name and her dad's last name off the bat. Let's see. I think if the child is happier and safer with the father, I think that's where she should be at. She's satirical, and I had a breakdown at 8. And that's where the girl's headed. It could be, Jeanette. I mean, I'm sorry. You have obviously experienced something throughout your life that has been traumatic to be able to relate to her. Thank you, Marie Jean, for being here. I'm sure you're gone at this point. Hello, Haley. Yeah, but the MP, the parent usually causes harm to the child, but with MP. And so typically, yes, not always from what I have seen and what I have experienced. But if I know what you mean, and yeah, you're right. But I have worked situations very similar to exactly what's going on or what's alleged to be going on in this situation. I know, yeah, it was ordered that the children stay with the father until the next court date. I've seen people throw out like different months as far as court. It was November, and then in the video where all of this has sparked up, they said it got moved up. Again, I'm not going to believe any of that until it actually comes to fruition and we can see documentation. I came in late, so you may have to mention this, but I did hear that Sophie refused to see a male doctor. I thought I heard that. So I've heard different people mention that. Again, we're not going to know if that's true or not. However, if a parent, think of if you're, who said that? Melanie, I'm assuming, and I know what the saying they say about assuming, I'm assuming you're a female. Think if you were a 9-year-old female child and your parent is telling you what kind of visit you're going to have. If a doctor is going to be looking in that region of your body at that age, I do not think I would have even been comfortable with a boy doctor. So you can play devil's advocate yet again on why she wouldn't work with a male doctor. Even I know some people were saying some of the forensic interviewers were male and she wouldn't talk to them. Again, I mean, you can play devil's advocate for almost everything in this stuff. You always can when it comes to investigations of this. Della, there's been a lot of stuff just thrown around haphazardly. I kind of agree with Katie in the fact that, you know, if they wanted to put everything on the internet to get everything out there and to get support, I totally understand that. I just think it should have been done a little bit more thought out. So this kind of stuff wouldn't happen where people are just seeing videos and not really sure of what the context is. So I don't agree with her entirely, but I with some sentiments, I do. There's a lot of people speculating, but she only posts facts. Annie Elise, is that who you're talking about? Only posts facts? I'm not sure who that is. Yeah, he has the kids until trial. They post TikToks and seem fine. Don't seem like they're on drugs like it's alleged. I completely agree with you. Yeah. I mean, you can go either way. And that's just what's crappy is that people, because they want to talk about it the way that they are on their platforms, it's like it was polarizing on Facebook, and Facebook's known to be polarizing with stuff like this. But now you're bringing it to like YouTube and the platform of YouTube. Like, provide your opinion, but do it in like a very, you know, upfront, very informative way. just trying to provide the receipts. You can spin the receipts however you want. It's black and white text. You can provide inflection, tone, the happenstance around it however you want to fit the way you want it to. I mean, that's just the truth of any receipt. That's why I really don't use them. My dad had this platform to help him that way. He would have had something to go to. So I'm glad we have it now. Exactly, Jeanette. And that's what's some situations do force people to use the internet. Although the internet can be this big bad thing, it can also be magnificent and help people get what they need. It's okay, Melanie. And, I wasn't just like saying at your statement, it's kind of like you stated it and it just brought up a bigger picture of what I have seen other people trying to claim and argue different ways. She has a YouTube channel, Annie. What kind of content does she typically provide? True crime? Okay. I'll have to go look at her and see what she has to say. I mean, another thing, I'm going to run out really quick because my living room TV just turned on where my dogs are, and I don't know if they're chewing the remote because it was off. So I'm going to be right back. All right, sorry. They were not chewing on it. Somebody had just stepped on it, I guess. Her videos are not monetized. She's in direct contact with the dad. So this brings up a couple of things that Katie from Without a Crystal Ball talked about, and I'm really trying to not focus this on her and what she said and her actions, because I wanted this to be somewhat educational for you guys and really provide, like, from working in real world situations like this, what it could be. So she brought up a couple of these things. She said that the channel 10 to Life is like in the dad's back pocket, and that she got all of her exclusive stuff from the dad. That could be true. And I've not watched 10 for Life. I watched somebody else's channel who was pulling content from her and like providing her own commentary on it. And I didn't realize that until later. And I meant to go back and watch 10 to Life's videos, and I haven't. However, even if that is the case, why does it matter? Like, Katie sits here and says at times, let me make sure I say that she's a journalist. Don't you go to sources for that? And didn't you just tweet out that somebody reached out to you about the Janelle stuff? I mean, that's you being a source. Like, why is she trying to make that a bad thing? I don't understand why she wanted to call this channel out and like bring up the numbers and the amount of views. And people can do the same thing with your content. Do you want people analyzing your content and your analytics? I'm sure you don't. So I don't understand why you made such a big deal out of this and out of her. And you also brought up the monetization, and you got pretty darn nasty with some people who were questioning you monetizing this. And I've talked about it, and this is not a popular opinion. I'm aware of that. I hope I don't piss any of you off by saying this. I could care less if their content is monetized, no matter what they're talking about, because they are putting forth the time, the effort, looking up the information and stuff like that. I really don't have anything inherently Like, I personally don't have issues with people monetizing it. Do I understand why people have the opposing argument? I do. I really do. And I can understand that, and I can argue along that too. I could argue either side, but at the end of the day, it's $800 that she donated. And I'm sorry to bust your bubble, but she's going to claim that on her taxes. So she's going to get it back. I mean, that's the whole thing with this YouTube and people monetizing stuff. And then they're like, oh, I'm going to use it for donation. What do you do when you file your taxes? You fill out all your donations. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it comes back anyways to that person. So I don't know if people are thinking of the big picture like that when they see a situation. I think Katie is so hated that when people saw not only that she covered this, but the manner of which she covered it, which I have an issue with, that she monetized it, that was just another reason for people to further hate her. And that's just my personal opinion. Then makeup info. Yes, Haley. I agree. Like, I don't know why Katie tried to make it seem like a bad thing that that channel was talking to that dad. And by this video, I'm not trying to convince, and I think it's very clear if you watch this, I'm not trying to convince anybody of one side or the other, or one parent than the other. This is just for people to actually step back and think critically of this. Because if you really take everything and every little bit of information that's been put out there, you really could spin it either way. At the end of the day, Sophie is okay. We know she's okay because she is present on social media while she's with her dad. We can see her. We can see her mannerisms. You know, so we know, like, she's all right physically. But the trauma that she has endured is stuff that is going to take mental health professionals no matter what way it goes. And I hope she is getting the mental health help that she needs. And I hope her parent, whoever she's with, right now it's with dad, is making sure that she is getting those resources that are needed. Another thing I didn't talk about that Katie brought up was the interview with the amicus attorney. I have not seen that. I did not know that that was out there because, like I said, every time I've covered this hashtag or this movement, it has been after court when I can actually, like, feel comfortable talking about it, because talking about it like this is so uncomfortable for anybody, because we don't know. I mean, that's the truth. We don't know what's actually happening. We have allegations from either side. And the only way I know that the truth is coming out is in court. So that is why I have primarily not done videos like this, because I don't, it's just providing information. However, I felt pressured that I had to talk about this. This was not what this live was supposed to be about. This was just supposed to be me hanging out with you guys. But I saw her video. I actually screen recorded her whole video because I wanted to go back and see what people were saying in the comments. And I haven't rewatched it because it made me mad. Like, while she was giving her information, I was literally like yelling back the opposing argument. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, people do not understand that this, you could argue either way. But she did bring up that the amicus attorney conversation was leaked. Do I think that that should have been recorded? No. Do we know who recorded it? No. So why are you accusing the dad? just because you think he is the one who released it. That is you assuming, but the way that you present it is you almost know it's him who did it. This is, again, where I have issues with how Katie delivers her topics, but that's not the focus of this part of the live. Do I think that should have been leaked? No. Have I watched it? No. Am I going to watch it? I don't know. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't know if I'm going to go look for it and watch it or not. However, from what people are saying, it's horrific. That means this child disclosed to that person. So fuck you again, Katie, if she did disclose. And because you want to act like you're better than everybody else and not watch something because it's illegal, it got posted, but you have a 9-year-old saying that she was abused or whatever she ends up disclosing in that, makes you look even more like an asshole. So congratulations if that's what it says. I see somebody here saying those tapes are horrific. So I'm assuming they're hard to listen to because she discloses something. So, I mean, again, I don't want this part of the video to be about Katie. I want this part of the video to be like kind of just point blank. Is it bad that that got leaked because it was confidential? Yeah, it is, but it's out there. Was it illegal in Texas law according to you and whatever statute you quoted? It is. Do things that are illegal happen every freaking day? Yes. Do they get called out and be made out to be like the worst person in the world? No. Are you trying to say you are better than them? The way that you are talking about this was even getting on to any of your viewers or anybody on this platform who watched that video. You were accusing them of doing something criminal. They may not have known that it was illegal for that to have been posted. I wouldn't have known that without you putting that in your video. So how dare you make your viewers and anybody else who actually gave a crap about this little girl feel like a criminal for watching that? Shame on you. Like, why does she do stuff like that? So, and I'm sure there's a couple of other things throughout this story I haven't talked about. Just let me know. I'm going to try and catch up in the chat because I got behind again. Sorry, guys. I can't focus on the chat when I'm actually like trying to get my thoughts out. Otherwise, I will get distracted and then say what I'm reading, just like I do that with typing. You think, Haley said, I think there's even more info that we don't know about what she went through. The tapes on Annie's channel are harrowing. I don't know who, like, I know you told me who Annie is. I will have to check out her channel and see what's there. I haven't seen her stuff pop up, but there definitely is information missing. I can tell you that for a fact. That's why I had tried to take the stance of not covering this until after each court date. But like I had said, I almost was backed into a corner just to provide some actual legitimate information from what I know is probably occurring. People are leaking everything about this child. They are. And it sucks. It sucks for her. And, you know, unfortunately, there's no like turning back at this point. I wonder what Mr. Jeff or whatever his name is, what his life is like now for him. Must not be very comfortable, especially have a job in the workforce. Oh well. Are you talking about the alleged perpetrator? His name was Jake. It was Mr. Jake. And I mean, honestly, like if this is fabricated, which I don't think all of it is, that man's life has been changed for forever, just as well as Sophie's has. Let's see. It's like, why is she talking about this? She consistently exploiting children and causing them more pain. Are you talking about Katie? She's doing it just to stay relevant, in my opinion. You're talking about the mom's boyfriend? Okay, yeah, Della. His name was Mr. Jake. Yes, the tapes are very hard to listen to. Some of it is redacted, but what's not redacted is shocking. That makes me scared to listen to them. Like I think it's pretty evident at this point what I used to do. So I have heard countless stories like this. I've had countless children disclose to me before. It never gets easier. KJ is not a good person to run to for advice or tell their story as a source. She exaggerates and lies, and I can't watch her without talking out, like yelling at my screen at her. Yeah, Jay, I mean, I can usually, like, if it's something I want to watch, I can usually stomach through watching it, and occasionally I'll have a comment or something. But I was literally yelling and like actually cursing at Katie because some of the stuff she said, and I can't remember exactly what it was. It was like an hour and a half long stream. I was like really cursing at her. And that usually doesn't happen because I was getting that frustrated. And I'm sure you guys saw that at the beginning of this stream. I was very much in the moment and getting heated about it. I had to stop and take a few breaths to be able to talk about it from a very like level-headed standpoint, because we are talking about a child's safety and being abused and neglected, and it is very personal to me. Jeanette said, I think we should focus on getting the child help and getting her safe and happy before something bad happens to her. I had a nervous breakdown and it's not easy to come back from. Understandable. And yeah, for sure it is. And that's like what I'm saying. She needs mental health help. No matter who she's with, she needs mental health help. Even if you want to play devil's advocate and say that this didn't happen and she's being convinced it happened, even more reason for her to need help. Oh, Annie is 10 to life. Okay. Thank you for clarifying, because there for a second I was thinking there was two people. I haven't watched any of her videos. Like I said, I didn't realize the channel I was watching, and I linked in the videos I talked about this stuff in. I linked her video. I think it was Chambers of the Heart or something like that. I didn't realize she was getting her content from 10 to Life and then providing her commentary on it and like her perspective of it until like a couple of days ago. So it's been my intention to go back and watch 10 to Life, and I still probably will. I don't know if I'll get to it today, to be quite frank. Like, it's almost 4 o'clock here and I have to finish editing my nail video for you guys. And I wanted to try and pre-film another video so I can get a video out for you guys tomorrow. The man KJ doxed. Yeah, she's so nasty. Oh, never mind. Jay, you're probably talking about her story. And I've talked about that. I don't know if you were in the live. We can talk about that once we're done talking about this topic. I'll probably be on this live for a little while just because I'm home alone, so I'm able to. She said the girl is lying. She's making it up, and she just made it up. She said the girl was like, even if 10% of this is true, that's not enough to get the girls to safety. You'll have to provide a little bit of clarification. I don't know if I'm reading that right. Yeah, I've tried to reread that. I'm not sure I understand what you are trying to tell me there. You know, it's wild, since KJ is doing this to Sophie, people are going to look into her story, talking to old in real life friends of her, and they say they won't stop until she stops. Comes around, goes around. I told my mother about what was going on. I didn't get, not going to say that word just because I don't want to offend anybody. I just kind of, wow, Jeanette, I am really sorry, and don't underestimate what happened to you. I hope, I'm assuming you're an adult at this point, and I hope you've come to terms with that. that it shouldn't have been diminished. It is what it is. Aside from that, the only thing that P word affects is criminal charges. Just so you know, you're still a survivor, and I hope you're doing well, and I hope you have overcome that trauma. Yes, stay alive. I did see, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I did see, but I don't know what that says. I do with I talked to the computer. Oh, okay. You talked to text and it didn't get it right. Even if 10% of that is correct, that is enough to get the girl to safety and get her help if she's more safe with her I think that's supposed to be father, and you probably kept talking and your phone cut you off. I've done that before. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, it really is going to depend on which parent you see as being better than the other. I really don't know where I stand with the parents, to be quite frank. I am not happy with either one of them for a multitude of reasons on either side. However, we have seen her on social media. We know she's okay, so I am comfortable with her being with the father. Since this has been so publicly aired out, I can tell you, they are probably going to try and handle this as quickly as possible, figure out the truth as quickly as possible to not have this publicized. But at the end of the day, this child needs some kind of help long term. I can't. Jeanette, you are in that sentiment with a lot of people. This story affects people. It affects everybody. There is not one person who watches this stuff or hears about this stuff is not affected by it, either because they've experienced something similar to her or because you care about the innocence of a child. It brings to the forefront that abuse and neglect happens every day. Unfortunately, unless you're working in it or you are experiencing it or you have experienced it, it's something you do not think about. It never crosses your mind. So when it ends up being in social media or in mainstream media, it becomes something that everybody is hyper aware of. And people cannot really grasp their mind around stuff like this happening. And it's hard and it's gut-wrenching and, it pulls at your heartstrings in the worst way. I understand. And if you are struggling, for anybody, if this story has affected you or triggered you or like you feel any kind of negative or upset way long term, please talk to somebody, preferably somebody who is in the ability to be talked to about that, like a professional. I understand that everybody can afford counselors and therapists, and if it's something you can't afford and is not provided free in your area locally for you, confide in somebody you trust, because letting that fester in you is not healthy for you either. I don't know who Ronnie McNutt is. You're Russian? That's kind of cool. And don't apologize. I don't know Russian, so I couldn't read it. The more I hear about this, the more I am pissed at the parents. A 9-year-old child should not be having to go through this in the public eye. They need to get themselves under control. 100% agree. And like I said, I can come from the argument of if the dad really had nowhere else to turn, because, it is known that he's filed previous CPS reports and law enforcement had been out there previously. So he was attempting to get this known. If he really felt he had nowhere else to go, I can kind of understand why he did utilize it. But at the same time, I can argue the other way. He could have gotten help from like the Facebook groups. He didn't have to push it out or push the video clips out. That's really where the story like took off, was when he started uploading the video clips of her. Yeah, and most people do want to get Sophie help. Most people, like, whether they agree with who, like I've said a couple of times already, no matter which side you want to support or which side you want to believe as being the story of how things happened, both sides ultimately really do care about Sophie, because if they think that dad construed this, they're still fighting for Sophie and the fact that dad's a POS and shouldn't have done all of this, and can argue whatever reasons they want. And if you believe dad, you still are in support of Sophie for getting her safe and making sure she gets the help that she needs. So at the end of the day, Sophie really is the main focus for everybody. It's just they're letting all the other stuff get in the way. And what they're not realizing and not thinking about critically is that this stuff that is getting in the way is stuff that we are just reading and interpreting how we want to interpret it. Yeah, and you know that stuff like that still happens to this day, which is why there's a reason Mike, like everything Michael is saying could be exactly what's happening, is there still is faults in our system. Has it gotten a lot better? Yes. I'm 30. I went through all of my trauma 20 years ago is when mine ended. When I was finally adopted, I was in state care for 10 years of my life. And I know the system is broken. It has gotten better. It's still broken though. I've worked in it. I know it's still broken. Not as broken as it was when I was in. So all we can do is continue to talk about it, to bring it up to legislatures in our states, federally, to get these gaps that we see happening to close. And, you know, I'm sure those are questions that she has been asked, especially if there has been involvement. You have stuff to tell me before I get off, Jake? Okay. That's awesome. And I'm glad you were her advocate. And that's what CPS is meant to be. And I know a lot of people are, for a lack of better terms, shitting on CPS for the work that they've done. I don't think that that's fair. And the reason people are mad at them is because they don't know what information they have gotten. And at the end of the day, we will never know unless it goes to trial and unless those CPS workers have to testify. We will not know, because that job is so freaking confidential. We can't hardly, when I was working in that job, I couldn't tell family members information because it is that confidential. That work is so serious and so protected. We will not know. And that does not mean we need to say they're doing a bad job. And that is why I have erred on the side of caution when talking about this, because if the mom has been investigated for whatever allegations in the past and the children were still allowed to see her, there had to have been miscommunication, or the children were not comfortable in talking. And unfortunately, that is something that we need to face. Children can be in dangerous situations with a parent and not feel safe to disclose that to anyone. and continue to be abused and neglected because they're scared of that parent. That is a reality. Yeah, I agree. At this point, I understand like YouTubers, because I'm doing it right now while I'm talking with you guys. Like, I understand people continuing to talk about this. Sorry, Paisley's distracting. I understand people wanting to talk about this and stuff like that. And I don't have a problem with people talking about this. I just wish people would talk about it from like a very neutral point, because we don't know. And if you are hard on one side or the other without knowing the actual facts, like, it may not play well for you. Yeah, she's not going to want to see this anywhere when she's older. And as I said earlier in my stream, once all of this is done and the story's over, I will either private these videos or I will go through and change the name and bleep them out of my videos, because I don't want this to have any longer lasting effects than what it should. And I hope the reason everybody that has been talking about this and covering this story are coming from good places and aren't coming from the place of, this is a hot topic and I just want to get in on it and provide my 2 cents. I really hope nobody's doing that. I have not really gotten that feeling, but I hope that's not what's happening. Yes, and that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, Jeanette. Children will be afraid to disclose the abuse that they may be experiencing in a home because of the repercussions that they know may follow. I appreciate that. I will be right back. This is the only bad thing about me being home alone, is Paisley keeps coming over here because she needs me to go let her out. So I'm going to go open the back door. I'll be right back. Bye. This is when I wish I had people at home with me to take care of the dogs, even though it's easier for me to be live for longer periods of time because I'm not having people peek around the corner in the room. Today I'm actually at my filming setup on my desk. So I'm probably going to peek out this way. So our backyard's through there. So does anybody else have any other questions or want to know my opinion, like neutrally, about the Sophie stuff? Because if not, we can move on. And if you want me to provide some of my opinions on how Katie talked about it, I can. I just wanted to get the bulk of everything out, like the important part out, before I went into talking about anything else. I had a stepdaughter. I met them, and I think as soon as your kid is old enough to talk, start telling them about nobody touching you. All right, when she said that, I want to grab her and just beat the heck out of her. Yeah, and like I said, that's an unfortunate, it is a reality, and it's, you know, I think a lot of people know, like everybody, if you're an adult to some extent, knows that abuse and neglect happens. But it's not something that you really think about unless you have to. So people may be aware that stuff like this is going on, but like there's nothing being done about it actively because it's not something that's talked about regularly. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I'm really sorry you experienced all of that. And for anybody who's ever experienced any kind of abuse or neglect as a child, I am with you. I will fight with you. I understand how traumatic and how long lasting those things are, experiencing stuff like that. I understand if you're not comfortable talking about it. If you are and you want to hear somebody else's story, you know, I have my story up. If you know anybody who is currently going through anything and you need advice on how to handle stuff, I am always available for you to reach out to and ask me questions or, you know, get advice on where to go with stuff. I will always be there for you guys. You can DM me on either Twitter or Instagram. My handle is the same there as it is on YouTube. Feel free. I don't ever want somebody to feel alone if they are struggling with anything. If it's something I can't help you with, I will be sure to provide a resource for you. A number that a lot of people, if you are in the US, a lot of states have the ability to dial *211 from your phone, and that will provide you to an operator, and you can tell them what you're struggling with or what your needs are, and they can tell you the resources in your local area for that need. I also never mind to do, I don't mind to have to do the research for you guys. And of course, there's 1-800 numbers that you can call for a multitude of reasons. If you ever find yourself in that category, be sure to reach out to those things. The people on the other ends of those lines are trained in handling whatever crisis you are having and providing you what you need in that moment. Do not ever feel ashamed or embarrassed to reach out to those. They are confidential, so you do not have to worry about people becoming aware of you making that phone call. And anytime, if anyone ever is vulnerable enough to want to come to me, I will never release anything unless you ask me to. I have had people before DM me and want me to tell their story, and I don't know if I feel comfortable doing that just yet. But I'm not going to talk about stuff you guys tell me. So, with all of the serious stuff and the heavy stuff out of the way, unless you guys have any, like I said, unless you guys have any questions you want me to talk about in relation to that stuff, we can move on to some other stuff. Nothing bad? Okay, Jay, I will, if you want to start typing it, you can. I'm going to go get my dogs in really quick because if you've been in my lives or some of my videos, I have huskies, and the one who's outside will run away if I'm not careful. So I'm going to go get her in. Okay. Sorry. Thank you guys for hanging in with me. It's the only bad thing, like I said before when I had to leave, for being the only one home. I have to let them in and out when they need to go. What was it you wanted to say? Tell me, Jay. Since we're off the topic. You can't say it now. Why? What's changed? That's okay. It's okay if it doesn't get much of a reaction. I mean, we're trying to look for a good transition. Yeah, tell us something funny. Exactly. I just went for an hour and a half talking about serious stuff, something weird, funny, stupid, whatever, however you want to categorize it would be a good transition. Hey, bud. Hey, buddy. Oh, man. Are you really not gonna stay? Are you gonna talk about it and then not say anything? I Google translated. Oh, yeah, what did it say? Oh, my Google Home is talking. Hey, Google, stop. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. What did it translate to? Was it something dirty? Because that wouldn't surprise me. Every once in a while, I think every YouTuber faces this. Every once in a while, you get like scammy comments that are like a timestamp for an adult video, if you know what I'm saying. Was it something like that? No, just people really love you. What was it? I would do it on the computer myself, but you guys, since we're in my bedroom on my vanity, you guys are balanced on a box, so I don't want to put any pressure on the keypad and have you guys topple over. This is interesting. I'm kind of intrigued. They said their name translated to skeletons. That's kind of creepy. That's weird. Then why would they say that they were Russian and it translated into somebody else doing something to themselves? Maybe they were testing to know if I knew Russian. I don't know. That is kind of weird and funny. Let's see. Is there anything else really to talk about? I know stuff is constantly going on. There's always really something you could talk about. I'm pretty sure. Let me see. What was that? There's a few other channels that are definitely don't reply to them in your comments. There are bots that can steal your account. It's been happening to small channels now. If any knows what, I don't know what you're talking about, but that's crazy that just a comment can get somebody to get into your account. I don't comment on those. I just hide the comment. I've hit the comment, and then I've had like 2 accounts do it, and 1 account kept doing it on almost all my videos. So I like blocked them from my channel. And then recently I've had it happen again, and I hid the comment, but I didn't block the user. And we'll see if they do it again. If so, I'll probably just block them. So I don't know. I thought I saw somebody made a video kind of talking about the video Katie did, and I can't remember who it was. I haven't gotten a chance to see it yet. Thank you, Amanda. I actually filmed me doing my makeup like this, like just a get ready with me, like an everyday just get ready with me, like an actual like talk through my products. Because in all of the lives and in any get ready with me's that I have done thus far, I never talk about the product. I always am talking about something else. So I actually did like, I don't want to call it a tutorial because, you know, I don't feel like I fit in a category where I can teach anybody or show anybody what to do. But I did do that. I filmed it before I went live, so I haven't quite yet uploaded it. I'm still editing my nail video. I did do it today. That will be up tonight. You just started to wear makeup. It's fun. I didn't really wear makeup until I got into like my 20s. In high school, I would do some eyeliner and some mascara. Happy birthday, Nick. I'm kind of weirded out now to think that people are just trying to spam me. But if it is your birthday, happy birthday. See, I feel like that's a spam. How am I anybody's idol? I haven't been on YouTube long enough to be somebody's idol. I don't feel like. So I am kind of curious. I know since, you know, we started this video talking about Sophie, and I've mentioned Katie a few times, not harshly, but I have mentioned her a few times. I know, right? I don't have any mods, so as long as they don't, I don't know how to make anybody a mod. I'm going to have to ask Britt or Sloan or one of them how to do it. So if they get bad, I'll just start deleting them myself. I wanted to go and see if she has posted anything on her Twitter. I know after she posted that video and Mysterious T caught it, she started deleting comments, and I did go through and I was trying to read them. I was genuinely curious on what people would comment on her videos. So, is that the screen recording? Yeah, I think that's the screen recording. Yeah. I guess not. I thought I maybe got a screenshot of a couple of the comments that I saw, and I was wondering, hey Susie Q, how are you doing? Yeah, I don't know where it's at now. So it is my intention to go back through and watch, because I screen recorded it because I just paid attention to what she was saying and the information she was providing. I did not pay any attention to the chat. So I have no idea what people were actually saying in the chat or how her mods were acting. That's funny. Actually, I remember this little bit. It was members only chat, and she had a few members who she was not happy. I don't know what they were saying because, like I just said, I did not watch the chat. She had a few members she was not agreeing with what they were saying, and she got on to one of them, and then she ended up making two people in that chat mods of her members to start deleting her members' chats because they were arguing her. I'm assuming because I haven't rewatched it to see what the people in the chat were saying, but I do want to go back and watch the screen recording I have to see what they said. And I know from watching that, although I wasn't paying attention to the chat, she had a ton of people sign up for memberships during that live, and I'm pretty sure people were signing up for membership just to be able to comment. I did not watch Little Red's live stream last night, Susie. I got off of Katie's, and then I saw she was live, and I tried to go into it, but I was so tired. I couldn't, and I was so heated from watching Katie's. Like, I was this close to getting onto live last night and just popping a gasket off. I'm glad I didn't, because I feel like this live has been more informative and educational and not something that I'm going to regret and not want to put out. So I'm glad I didn't. I know Little Red is going live here soon, and I'm assuming it's going to be to discuss all of this stuff. And I know they have like reached out and offered, you know, Britt to come on and a few other people to come on to their show. This is one topic where I almost feel like I want to ask if I can come on to provide my professional knowledge when people are critiquing this, because some of what Katie said has legitimacy from a professional standpoint, as you will know if you watched the first hour and a half of this. I would want to talk to other creators who are discussing Katie and are discussing her coverage of this and who are discussing what has come about this whole I Stand With Sophie movement. But I'm also not comfortable enough with myself as a YouTuber to reach out to anybody in that manner. So no, I didn't see her live stream. I saw she's going live later, and I am going to watch the live stream. They live stream for so long. I say that, and I've almost been on here for 2 hours. But I don't have the attention span. I can't even go to the movies because I don't have the attention span to just sit and watch something. Like when I'm talking, I'm the one who's talking, so it's easier for me. And as you guys can probably tell, I move around a lot. I move my hands a lot because I can't sit still. So I have a hard time watching her lives in length. I usually watch a good bit of it, leave, and then I come back. That's how I typically will watch her. Uh-oh. That thing about doing things live, you see my reaction to my phone. I don't want to scare anybody. My husband and sister-in-law are off-roading, and I just got a text that they are in some stuff. Another word for stuff. So I don't know if that means that they're stuck somewhere, and where they were going to off-road is like an hour away from here. And the vehicle I have is not 4-wheel drive. So if they are stuck, that's going to be interesting since we're new here and we don't have anybody to pull them out. I have some coworkers who would probably do it. Anyways, we'll see. She's sending me something, and it's downloading, so I'm assuming it's a video. Susie Q, you said last night. Did I miss some comments? I don't know if I said Amanda's. Can't watch Katie Joy anymore. I used to hate watch her. I guess you can say. I never said anything in her chats really, but it was still giving her views, so I quit. I still watch her. I'm still subscribed to her, so I know, and I know that sounds bad, but I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. I'm still subscribed to both of her channels, so I get the notifications when she goes live, because she does shit like this all the time. Pardon my French. Because she does stuff like this all the time, and I'm not going to be surprised if in a few days she deletes that video. That's why I screen recorded it. I have learned my lesson. She deletes stuff that's going to end up coming back and biting her. And whether she ends up being true in this, which I highly doubt she will be, but on the off chance she does, she's still going to look crappy. It's a part 2 to last night. Does that mean I'm going to be totally lost, Susie, whenever I go into her live tonight? Last night was sad. I was so mad. I'm not on anybody's Facebook, Jay. I think I said that earlier. I don't do the Facebook thing. I don't even keep up with my own Facebook. I open it and scroll through like twice, and then I close it. I'm sure they're okay. They're sending me a text message, so I'm sure they're fine. If it was that serious, they would have called me. To each their own, no judgment. Some of her ex-mods came forward. I saw that title. Was that on the video for tonight? I'm really interested in what that's going to be like then. She does use Twitter to be nasty. I think she uses Twitter to show who she really is, because not her full following is obviously on Twitter. Hey, Ames, I shouldn't be lost. It's just a continuation. Okay. I mean, I'll go in. Like I said, I usually hop in her lives. If I see she's live, I'll hop in them. I usually say hi to everybody. You love mud riding. The muddier, the better. So where we're at is not super, we're in Utah, so it's not muddy. But they go like off-roading in dunes and sand dunes and stuff like that, but not in an off-road vehicle. I mean, his truck is off-road capable, but he just has a Tacoma that's 4x4, but it's stuck on downloading. I don't want to like show my name or anything. So whatever she's trying to send me is stuck downloading. I would assume it's because the area that they are in does not have good coverage. How fun. It is fun. I really have to be in the mood to go do that though. The two of them can do it all day and have the best time. I get anxious when we're gone for too long because of the dogs. I don't like not knowing, and in the off chance that we get stuck, who knows how long it would take for us to get out or to get home. And I don't want to leave my dogs in a position where they may be tearing up the house or like not eating their dinner on time, or I worry about weird stuff like that when it comes to my animals. So I only go if I know it's going to be for a short period of time. But since they were driving an hour away just to get to the spot they wanted to go to, I didn't want to go. So, and I needed to do some stuff for you guys. So I said I would stay home. My dogs are my 3,000. And now ate my, okay, your dogs ate your $3,000 leather couch and ate your lazy boy. My dogs haven't eaten anything. I think did I tell you guys about what Paisley did the other day? I think I did while Britt was in here, because I remember talking about my dog not being fixed. See, my dogs don't really have separation anxiety, believe it or not. Like, they don't get anxious about anything. They don't get, we lived in Florida where there's a lot of thunderstorms. They would sleep through them, not be affected, nothing like that. Well, typically my two younger dogs, Paisley and Whiskey, are usually in a crate. And my older dog, Gizmo, is old and all he does is sleep. So he's not in a crate. But because Paisley and Whiskey are both not fixed, not because we want puppies, we do not want puppies. But when Paisley goes into heat, she does not like Whiskey for obvious reasons. And so we kind of have to keep them somewhat separated or very closely watched, because she will attack him if he gets too close to her. So she just got out of heat a few days ago. So she was not being put in the crate. And where did we go? I think we went grocery shopping. We were not gone for very long. And she had pulled out the pot and 2 bowls from our sink, as well as 4 empty soda cans that I had upside down so they would drain out all the way before I put them in their recycling. She pulled all of that out. She is not a very tall husky. She is very short. She's like 40, 45 pounds. I think you guys have seen her. I don't know if she's in here. No, that's Gizmo. You can see him. That's my old dog. He's 8. Gizmo, are you gonna look? No. He's a chubby boy. He just sleeps. Oh, there he goes. There's part of his face. I think if you were in the live yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before? I kind of ended up going live almost every day. She is not very big. She's half the size he is. And somehow she managed to get that stuff out of our sink. I don't know how she did it. But other than that, they don't really destroy anything. Because I don't know why. And she had been out of her crate while we were at work and everything for the past week and a half. And then we just so happened to go on a short trip to the grocery store and she pulled all that stuff out of the sink. I was like, what are you doing? All right, let me go back. Aim said, I was watching one of KJ's streams the other night and saw a comment that was really rude on KJ's part, and I grabbed my phone to screenshot it. Thank goodness I didn't refresh my desktop. You know, her and her mods are like quick to get it. And like last night when she did this live, you could tell she was anticipating to be attacked, because she had one person continually talk about, she mentioned the monetization stuff and like tried to get on her. I donated it, so I don't want to hear anything. Whatever, like honest to goodness, whatever. You shouldn't have addressed it if you didn't want to. Like, you bringing it up is bringing people to talk about it. So that was dumb on your part, but she brought it up. And then somebody, I can't remember who, kept talking about it. And I don't know how they were talking about it because I wasn't reading the chat, but she flat out like called this person out and was like, no, we're not going to do this. I'm going to time you out. I'm sorry. And then she was like, I really need some mods. I was like, what in the goodness gracious are you going off about? Like, why talk about something if you don't want people to judge you about it or bring it up? Because if you bring it up as a YouTuber in a live, people are going to comment on it. Like, I'm talking about Katie Joy, so you guys are talking about Katie Joy. I mean, go freaking figure. It's a conversation. That's how these lives are meant to be. They are meant to engage your audience and let them feel like they are having a conversation or hanging out with you. Why is she covering serious topics in the format of what should be a video as a live? I don't understand why she does that. I never understood, even before like I had this opinion of her. I never understood why she did that. I've never seen a YouTuber do that before. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's just, it's weird. It's a weird way to do your content, in my opinion. Susie Q said Huskies are hilarious. They are. They are also a pain in the butt when they're young. Pain in the butt. I have a cat that will knock over water bowls all on the floor. Unfortunately, the big dog you guys saw back here is not friendly towards cats whatsoever. So I cannot have a cat. I am more of a dog person, but I don't mind cats. Yours does the couch and stuff. Yeah, they don't. My dogs don't chew up like actual furniture. At one point in time, a dog I did have, his name was Chewy because he chewed stuff. Not really. He ended up living up to his name. We called him Chewy for short for Chewbacca because he would do the call like Chewbacca does on Star Wars. I hope I didn't get that wrong. So we named him Chewy as a nickname, and then he ended up filling those shoes and would chew everything. It was one of her mods. Was it really? Katie only agrees with people that agree with her. 5 dogs, 8 cats, and a bunny. You have a house full. I've got 3 dogs, and that's it. No cats. I explained why. No other animals, partially because of that same reason. Paisley will also eat any wild animal. I don't know what whiskey would do with them, but I have previously worked in, when I was younger, I worked in like a mom and pop pet store. So they took their work really seriously. So I had to know a ton about household animals and like common household animals like bearded dragons, lizards, fish, birds, cats, dogs. To know all about that. I know more. I was joking on I commented on one of Britt's videos. I think it was her last live that I had to rewatch. That I know more about animals than I do about humans, especially when it comes to like nutrition and stuff like that. It's sad, but it's true. I worked in that pet store for like 3 or 4 years. Was that on the live last night that she did that, or was that in a previous live? I don't know. Katie's all over the place. Katie's always doing stuff with, it was the live last night? Okay. Because I know when it started, she didn't have any mods because it was members only. And then she started getting some comments she didn't like and said she needed mods, and then put 1 or 2 people in mods. And then she started calling a couple of her viewers out who were like disagreeing with what she was saying or contradicting what she was saying. Okay, Ames, you don't have to. I mean, like I said earlier, I do intend to rewatch that whole live to look at the comments to see if it's something we should discuss. No way. Hey, Organized Chaos. I think I've seen you in other people's lives. How are you doing? Katie, it was intense. Katie publicly humiliates a shit ton of people, though. Like, not saying that this incident isn't important. To me, it's even more important that she was that freaking focused on her chat when she was talking about something and making some huge accusations. And then she wants to sit there and kind of yell at everybody else who has, this is more of my opinion of the situation. We talked about the other part at the beginning. She is further saying, like, if you have talked about this, you should have held your breath, blah, 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 blah. Like, who are you to be the person to tell everybody this? It was about 37 minutes. Oh, well, thank you for dropping in. I really appreciate it. I like when I get to see new people. I'll have to go back and watch at that mark. She is off her rocker. She just doesn't. it goes to show she has no respect for her audience. If that individual was one of her longest supporters, can you imagine how much money that person has probably donated to her? I hate to make this about money, but Katie is money hungry. Anybody in here that knows about Katie would probably agree with that sentiment. And that truly is sad that she maybe gave this person the opportunity to have some kind, like, probably feel somewhat rewarded for all of her time and like money and probably dedication she spent on her channel, for her then to do that because she was maybe providing her some criticism. Like I said, I didn't watch the chat, so I don't know what was being said, but that is downright disgusting behavior for a creator to say. And I know in one of her Instagram things or her live things, when she was talking about Janelle, she was like, and I guess since I am an influencer, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? When she said that, I dropped my phone. If I had something soft under me, I would like, literally, she said that comment and I just let the phone slide out of my hand. Like, what world are we on to, like, I'm an influencer? Like, no shit, you're an influencer. I mean, you are putting yourself on the internet. You have allegedly 130,000 people watching you. At what point did you not think you were an influencer? Because I don't think I am, but logistically I am. I am putting myself online for people to ingest my content. I am influencing your opinions in some ways. I am influencing you on my personality. I am influencing you guys. Of course, I don't think of myself that way, but by definition, I am, and I'm not a moron. I can see that. Like, she's not. That makes it even worse. You're making me feel worse for this individual if she's so nice. Like, what is wrong with Katie? Like, I'm going to end up getting myself in trouble because this is going to, what you guys are telling me is going to make me really mad. Well, Mama Wolf, if that's true, I've seen her treat people poorly. I didn't know she did it to her mods. Her mods would be better off, and it sounds like some of them have jumped ship. I hope they all do. I'm an influencer. Exactly, Jay. That's how I feel. I almost fell over. That's how I feel like she probably talks too. Well, I mean, we know that's how she talks at times, but you know, when she's like just chit-chatting with her husband, why are all of my I wish I was like doing this from my phone so you guys can see all of my dogs literally just walked in here. I have no idea. There's only been maybe one of them in here this whole time. And they all three just came in here and are like sitting staring at me. I think it's anytime I like start getting loud or worked up, I think they feed off of me, so they come in here to make sure I'm okay. Oh, you like my nail polish? So I did do, I don't know if you were in my other lives, the organized chaos, but I actually did like a tutorial, and I want to say tutorial because I'm not a professional, and although they look good, there are mistakes. I'm in the process of editing it. It's the first video I'm actually having to edit all the way through, so it's taking me a lot longer than I thought, but it will be up tonight. Even if it's like at 1 o'clock in the morning, it will be up. I'm dying. All the news is amusing to me. It's honestly, it does get amusing. Like, I am one of those people who, like, I don't like to participate in the drama, but I love to watch it. And like, I can only assume how people are taking me, like popping off at her. She said Janelle was, I know that Janelle was coming at her for clout. Did you see her tweet? Was there a tweet or Instagram like early this morning or last night saying that some publication reached out to her because Janelle responded to her? I'm like, get off of your high horse. Get off of it. Like, do what Shane Dawson said and like take a piece of humble pie. She needs it. Had to step out. KJ called herself an influencer. Yeah, she did in one of her lives. I don't know. I don't think it was a Facebook live. I think it was an Instagram live. She said towards the end of the video last night that her attorneys told her she is a public figure. I mean, she is a public figure. So am I. I mean, honestly, I'm not trying to be nasty about that. Anytime you are putting yourself in a position for people to critique or take, or, you know, you're putting yourself in a position for others to judge you to a mass level of what YouTube can provide as a platform. You are a public figure. Do I think she's like a celebrity and probably the context she meant it? No. And that's the context she probably meant it in. She's given people money who are struggling. No way. You're talking about the mod that she kicked out, right? When she thinks she can tell other YouTubers how to make content. Yeah, she can try to tell other YouTubers how to make content. I'm not going to bow down to her. I'm a huge animal person. I don't think you've been in any of my other lives. I showed one of my huskies just a little bit ago, and in yesterday's live, I showed the other one. The only one who's like almost impossible to get to sit still is my lab. You just saw, haven't managed to get into the Reddit thread. I will though. She can't go on much longer the way she's going. You don't brag about it though. I could care. Yeah, Ames, I appreciate that you acknowledge that. I really don't care. I don't. Like, I want to build a good community. Like, Britt and I know she's mentioned this in her lives. Her and I talk occasionally in DMs, and we have the same thought process when it comes to YouTube and like being on YouTube and what can come of YouTube and what is coming of YouTube for both of us. I started this to have a voice and to provide education and awareness to others. And I have fallen into commentary, and I really enjoy commentary and will continue it. That's not why I started this platform. I in no way ever anticipated to get to a point where I could even maybe think about being monetized. If I make money, fine. I don't think I will though, because I talk about such sensitive matters that I don't think I will pass the review. So, which mod did you see this do? I didn't watch the, there you go, Organized Chaos put it in there. It was Renee. And I do remember her calling out somebody named Renee. I just wasn't watching the chat because I had screen recorded it to go back and watch a chat. I was really trying to just listen to what she was saying and what she was providing. So I've got to run back behind here real quick. All right. So Jen, you know who Renee was too. See, anytime I watch any Katie videos or her lives, I never really pay attention to her chat because I can only imagine her chat being very like one side or the other. And I've heard about her mods just deleting people, and I've seen Katie go off on people, so I never really pay attention to her chat. Renee is in with the Sophie thing since the beginning. She knows the people, the backstory, and oh, really? Well, that's interesting. Hello? Oh, I thought trying to answer a phone call, but it didn't work. Let's see. That makes it even worse if she can debunk her and she was just trying to silence her. I haven't watched a KJ video in quite a while. That's great. I love this. She was always fair from my memory. It sounds like she was. And because Katie was trying to push her narrative, and again, like, I'm not picking a side. You guys can, if you weren't here for the first hour and like 20 minutes of this stream, I talk about the Sophie stuff from a professional standpoint. And how it can go either way, to be quite frank. That really just makes me like, I don't even know how to really digest that if she kicked her out because she has been with Katie since the beginning, and that she knew Katie maybe was fabricating or pushing the narrative she wanted to push, and she was actually contradicting her in the chat for people to know, that is effed up. And I don't know if that's what you guys are trying to insinuate, but if that is what has happened, I'm going to see what you guys say, because before I continue and make an ass of myself, I want to see what you guys say. You heard about it in Red's live. Okay. I missed, yeah, Ames, it looks like you maybe were watching Red's live and didn't see Katie's live. Is that what I'm gathering? It's kind of what it seems like. Like, come on now, you can't send a clump of hair for a drug test. So they can. I can validate that in a way. Don't misconstrue that. Okay, so for clarification, you can send a hair follicle off for a drug test. I don't know of many agencies that use that anymore, but maybe Texas does. I don't know in what world the dad would be the one sending it off, because well, that's what I was going to say, the organized chaos. It's not, anytime a hair follicle test is done and sent off to a lab, it is supposed to be by somebody who knows how to collect the hair appropriately. So the people who are collecting the hair should have been the agency sending it off. It is not something that would have been done from home unless it was a voluntary, like, buy at home hair follicle test and send off. So you can do hair follicle tests. However, it's done by a professional. It's not like, oh, here's this official test, you go home and pull out your own hair. Because when you do a hair follicle test, I know because of the jobs I've had and I currently have where I do drug testing, you have to literally pluck about this much hair, quite literally, almost a dime-sized amount of hair from the roots. You have to get the root and everything. So I don't think they're going to send home that test for just anybody to do because of stuff like this, of someone trying to say, oh, well, it wasn't his hair. It would have been done by, if it was court ordered or ordered by an agency, it would have been done by a professional. If it was something that the dad was doing on his own free will and trying to use that against the mom, I'm not saying that's what happened, but at that point, there is more fluidity as to what may have happened with said hair, if that makes any sense. Yes, she did go off. I didn't go into Red's live because I was screen recording it on my phone and I knew I had to stay in the live. So I didn't know Red was live until afterwards. KJ said Leslie Bass faked her hair follicle test. Hasn't she come back and said that she was sorry for that because her and Leslie made up, though? And I'm not trying to talk on the Leslie drama. I only know bits and pieces of that. Well, you can't clean your system for a hair follicle test. She's a fucking moron if she thinks that's how it works. A hair follicle test tests for 5 to 7 years. That would be a urine test, and that would depend on what kind of substance she was using on how long it would be in your system for. So the organized chaos, I don't think you were here at the beginning of my chat, this live stream. if you're interested in my thoughts, I would advise you to watch. I know it's long, but I talk about it from a professional standpoint. I have previously worked in child welfare. You can deduce what kind of job I had from that. I'm not going to come out and say what I did. We could test children, let me put it that way, and it wasn't a hair follicle test. Mama Wolf, exactly. If it was court ordered, it would have been ordered to be done by the court. And as far as I know, from any court system I've been involved in, they don't order hair follicles anymore. It's usually a pretty immediate result, which is a urine test. Now, if they are trying to test for something dating back in a custody case, which they may be, then yes, a hair follicle test would have been requested, but it would have been done by a professional. Well, I know she talked about the dad cutting his hair and how she found that coincidental. I mean, it doesn't prove or disprove her point, because if he pulled his own hair out for the hair follicle, he would have had a patch of missing hair. However, his hair was so thick and so lush, you get it from your crown, the crown of your head. Anywhere within the crown of your head is where you can pull for the hair follicle. He could have easily pulled it from a spot that his hair would have covered. He had thick hair. You can take the devil's advocate side and say he shaved it because he had to do the hair follicle. I mean, it could go either way. She was saying anything that makes the dad look bad. I 100% agree with you. And I 100% stand with Sophie. And that's very clear when I discuss everything. However, the points I was making was everything Katie said could very easily be turned on the opposite side. It's all how you want to take a black and white text and how you want to interpret it to your audience, what kind of tone you want to use, what kind of inflection you want to use, how you want to present it. It can go either in favor of the dad or the mom. Yeah, it is interesting circumstances. Like everything is all how people are wanting to report on it. That is why personally, up until today, I had waited until the courts had their hearings before I talked about it and we knew what came of those hearings, because I have worked in this field and I know both sides. I know very easily what could or could not be happening because I have worked it. And that is what I talk about at the beginning of this video in relation to this case. Well, you know, maybe Katie should take some acting classes so people could maybe like her better, because maybe she could fake that she's a genuine person. And even if this child had acting classes, like I said at the beginning, or even if the dad coached her, I've talked to coached children. That was not a coached conversation. That video was not. That video was genuine reaction, genuine feeling. She must have been going to acting school her entire life. She must have came out of the womb at a Class A acting school from somebody who personally has been abused and neglected and who has worked in this profession. Katie is making a fool of herself. Even if what she is trying to claim, if some of that becomes true, she has still made a fool of herself. I think she will pass the money up because she can't handle people calling her out, so she will do it. Post a picture of proof, then tweet about it for a week. Yeah, that's her MO, and everybody knows that. Everybody knows her pattern of behavior. I mean, we can go over the last week or two where she had few weeks where she has repeated this cycle. I believe it's genuine. Almost everybody believes it's genuine. The only person I have ever seen question the child is Katie. And she called her bratty, and she said she was coached because of her language and this, that, and the other. Like, no, let's stop. I have a feeling Yeah. Thank you. When I saw the Katie video, I felt her feeling something KJ can't feel or see. And I talked about that in a live before. Like, I just don't understand why Katie would think that it's okay to say that to her audience and then later come out with her own sexual assault story and dox people in that and do questionable things in that, and then give the story about the Hope Center or Center of Hope and never touch that again. And then now she's circling around back to Sophie's story because that's what's gaining traction right now. Yeah, unfortunately, Raphael, if that's how you pronounce your name, if you're not aware of this YouTuber, you are probably going to be lost. And I apologize for that. She is just somebody who's problematic and who has covered a topic in a very questionable way and has pushed her narrative, in my opinion, to make herself more known and gain more following. It is obvious in what she's doing because, like I said, like that was just this week. I mean, we can take it back farther. This goes back since I started watching her, since Micah Stauffer. And the only time she talks about Micah is when absolutely every single other person who's covered Micah makes a video. Then she feels like she has to stay relevant. I don't care about her. I was providing my opinion on how she covered a very sensitive situation. One of the mods talked about why she came out with her own story. She said it was because she was getting so much backlash. And I mean, that's what people who have given her criticism said it was for. No, she's not famous. She wants to be famous. That's why she does these things that are problematic. Yeah, I have a feeling this individual is probably a troll. I get one after the last couple of times when I've gone live for this long, I get a troll or two. So we'll see what they continue to say. And if it's not conducive or it seems to be that they're trolling, I will just delete them. Yeah, see, I assumed. And that's fine, Raphael. I don't mind you asking questions. Just the way that you're asking questions is very conducive of the kind of behavior that this individual is known for doing, for kind of sending her following to question other people who are giving her criticism. So that's why you're kind of getting the backlash or like the questioning of yourself asking the questions. So nobody's inherently trying to be mean to you. And if you genuinely want to know, like I am trying to answer what questions you have, it's just hard once I am actually talking about her personally and like providing my opinion on her and why I have that opinion. When somebody comes in and questions why I'm talking about her, it seems very fishy. But as I was saying, like this goes back, her pattern of behavior. I have been watching her since the Micah stuff, and this has cycled around. She only covers Micah now when BX Beast Boy, when Sloan, and when the Dad Challenge podcast put out videos. Does she then think she needs to upload one? Where are you from? Are you trying to learn English? Where are you from? I mean, and that stinks that's, that everybody can Israel. Okay. That's very far away. So what's interesting is the fact that people who no longer watch her, who do still currently watch her, they all know of this pattern. I don't even think like her hardcore followers try to dispute the fact that this is her pattern at this point. She's an unethical journalist. My response was, you'd have to be a journalist to be unethical. She told people she went to school for Latin studies. She did tell people she went to school for Latin studies, and that she told people in a live that she did stuff over in Spain. She said she went to school in Spain while she was doing, maybe there's a reason she is not in her field of study. Because if you're going to study one particular culture, if you're not working, it's because you're not liked. I'm from the United States. So some people say I have a Southern accent. I might. I don't know. I am from the South, so I could very easily have a Southern accent. I've been watching her since, what is that? David Killed Nugget? The Non Sequitur Show. I've heard about it. I'm pretty sure that's where the famous clip of her making that very inappropriate comment comes from about when she's old. I think that comes from that show. Does it? Maybe it comes from another one. I don't know. I find it interesting that she has been trying to, it appears to me, and I'm not saying this to be like shady, I'm actually not, but it appears to me she has done a lot of different things to try and get her name like out there to be known so people would know who Katie Joy is. She did it with writing, she did it with these other little shows, and nothing actually gained traction until her current channel, which she has used that channel to start another channel, and then I don't know if we want to go down that rabbit hole. It's her new thing because in her video, she puts another YouTuber on blast saying, look at this YouTuber and how many videos they made about Sophie and how much they made on Social Blade. Yeah, I talked about that in the beginning of this video, and I said I didn't understand why she wanted to pinpoint that particular YouTuber because she was analyzing her analytics, and I can guarantee you she would be livid if anybody wanted to go in and actually hardcore analyze her analytics. Janelle Eason had the French Bulldog that her. Oh, okay. So I've heard about that. I'm not a Teen Mom fan. I personally really don't like Janelle. So I didn't watch Teen Mom very much, especially Teen Mom 2, because I didn't like a lot of the cast members. I've heard about that. And I know she covered it and like what's been going on with Janelle and like the CPS stuff. She got stuff wrong in that too. Like she just doesn't know what she's talking about, but she makes it appear, for people who are new here and haven't heard me rant about Katie before, my biggest issue with Katie is how she reports the information she has. She reports it as fact when it's not fact, and she misrepresents information. When she tried to, I first started getting this when she covered that Facebook group that was child trafficking. She used incorrect grammar the entire time. That was when I first made my first video about Katie, and it is still on my channel. I don't delete stuff, unlike her. It was her show that featured her and her husband. Yeah, so that is, yeah, the iconic quote. Yeah, that I didn't watch it, but I've seen that particular clip. I think everybody has. She was, yeah, I did discuss her and her behavior to Tend to Life, Annie. I just don't understand. Like, what was the point of that? What validity did bringing up that individual, that person's YouTube channel, their analytics, what did that have to offer to Katie's argument? Like, really, what did it have to offer? That the dad was maybe providing a YouTuber information? Who the fuck cares? Like, at least that person was getting legitimate sources. At the end of the day, she was going to the source and getting the information, unlike Katie. So did she have any information from directly talking to the mom? No. What she says instead is, I talked to somebody close to the family. Who is that person? Oh, I lost my spot. Sorry. Let me go up. I don't want to miss too much of the chat. This is probably not a good place for you to be learning English because I'm not using good English words. I realized, yeah, my accent is slightly Southern. That doesn't surprise me. I didn't realize I had a Southern accent until I moved here, and people told me I did. Yeah, 10 to Life is who I was talking about, Annie. That's the channel she was kind of scrutinizing in that video. She would strike them if that's the case. I just realized I used the M word. Would you? No, I could care less. I'm not monetized. So and that's how I am across the board. I don't care. I want you guys to communicate with me as you would a friend. I don't care if I ever become monetized. This is just for me to have a community to talk to provide my opinion to bounce ideas off of. I'm not in this for the money. I'm not Katie. Not that other YouTubers are either. I have a lot of YouTubers on here that I talk to and I support 100%. Okay, I did a quick average on views on her last few episodes and it was like 25K. Yeah, no, and if you really look at her channel and like the videos, I understand some video topics flop. People don't watch like a certain playlist of mine because of the content that's in there. I expect that, but when you are just covering like stuff, like every few videos she has, she will have some videos with only 5,000 views, and that's just not, that's weird. I don't see that kind of fluctuation happening when you have 130 people subscribe to your channel. She doesn't seem to like Annie. Yeah, because exactly, Susie, you said it yourself. She doesn't like Annie because Annie blew up a lot quicker than Crystal Ball did. And Crystal Ball's probably afraid that Annie might take some of her viewers because unlike everybody else in this genre, we all want to band together and support one another and lift each other up, except for her. I don't know if she was monetized or not. Yeah, no, I'm not monetized. And I, like I said just a few minutes ago, I could care less, even if I was. This is just a hobby of mine. I have a full-time job outside of this. I keep losing my spot in the chat. I'm going to catch up eventually. We all know she has a program in her desktop that auto buys her bots. Does she really? I know that has been speculated. I know there's speculations about her viewers, about her subscriber count. I know you can buy them. I'm not foolish. I'm just, to have something like that in place is kind of sad if that's true. KJ has a connection that someone who pretended to be a mod and it was debunked. And that's the one reason she got rid of Renee. Well, it sounds like she maybe bit herself in the ass by getting rid of Renee because she's riled up a whole lot of people. KJ wants to get people attacked. I prefer to listen to native speakers rather than to official teachers. You can learn better that way. From what I've heard, when you're learning a second language. However, English, just so you know, is extremely hard to learn because of our vocabulary. And I mean, we have like 2 different wheres. It depends on what your context is. A lot of theirs depends on the spelling and the context. So this is a language that is rather hard for people to learn as their second language. I'm not saying you can't do it. Just be prepared for some barriers. like her YouTube plaque only had 5K. I watched her unboxing of that. I thought it was funny. And I know people were questioning the authenticity of that. I'm pretty sure it's legit just because I've seen legitimate unboxings. It has the same letter, the same heading, all of that. So I think it was legit. She has such a low percentage of interaction. People with only 1,000 subs have more interaction than she does. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, she gets more interaction than I do, but that I am only just over 1,000, and I prefer this kind of interaction. I'm even struggling to keep up with you guys now. I just lost my spot again. I'll find it. I was almost to the end, except for when I do that. Ames, did you delete your own message? Because sometimes they retract. It's not me, I promise. KJ is so jealous of other pretty women that outdo her. I think KJ's jealous of anybody, period. I don't think they have to be prettier than her. I just think anybody who she sees starting to gain a following and that are doing it well and are like have good interactions and who obviously have a good community, I think that scares her because she views this as a competition rather than let's share subscribers, let's work together, let's make change. Like that's kind of what I want. And I said this in my last video, my last live at the end. Like I want to band together with like Britt, Sloan. I want to get in touch with the Dad Challenge podcast and BX Beast Boy and talk to them about us seriously like bonding together because we all are like social justice talkers and we all want change to happen for the protection of children. And I think it would help if we were all like one solid unit and continue to grow and continue to support each other and like make the best of this platform we can. I feel like we can eventually invoke that change within YouTube and within social media because we all have very strong opinions. We all have different backgrounds. I really think it's something that is capable of all of us to do. It's just we would need to do it together. Yeah, KJ's always picking a fight with people, though. I think almost everybody who knows who she is aware of that, whether you're like a supporter of hers or you're not. Yes, because she hadn't had any growth the entire time she was trying to get her play button from the last of July until the last. So what's interesting, don't quote me on this, I might be a little bit wrong, but what I have read and what I have seen other YouTubers who kind of talk about like your growth on YouTube and how to do it organically and how to really build a good community, as far as like your, oh, that has to do with monetization. That doesn't have to do with the plaque. Just kidding. What I was going to say, in case anybody's interested, what I was going to say is like, once you are eligible, like once you reach the 1,000 subscribers, you have to reach that 400,000 hours of watch time within a certain period of time. I think it's 12 months to actually gain monetization or something like that. And again, I'm partially speaking out of my rear end because I'm not very familiar with terms of service and all of that. Yeah, exactly. Pronunciation is very different from what it seems when it's written. I didn't notice you having an accent. I come from a city that has its own language. Oh, where are you from? Ames, where are you from to have your own language? That's really cool. Yeah, we do have all kinds of words. Having a good community is the best possible thing you can do. I agree. And I think anybody who cares about like YouTube for the right reasons feels that way. You like my idea, Jen? Yeah. If YouTube catches you buying subs, they won't give you the plaque. Yeah, I've seen people kind of give that criticism, especially with people concerned Katie does allegedly buy subs. I know that like when we've all seen bots, like I know you can kind of point out when there is a bot, but when you have 130 people, like how is YouTube actually like doing that checks and balance, you know? For some reason, you talk more clearly than others. There are many which pronounce the whole sentence like it's a single word. Yeah, some people do talk, as I just did. Some people do talk really fast, and it makes it hard to see what they're saying. You're from Pittsburgh? I know a few people from my husband's military, so I've met all kinds of people from all over the world. And one of our close friends, a while at our last station, she was from Pittsburgh. I don't remember her knowing. I mean, I feel like every area, maybe not from the same area you're from. I don't want to discredit what you're saying, but I feel like every like area, every town, every city has its own slang to some degree. I just bit my teeth together. That hurt. She at the YouTube. Oh, that's a good one, Mama Wolf. You know, and that's one of the criticisms she gets all the time is that she constantly is like talking about her subs, talking about her views being down or up, adding the YouTube channel anytime something goes wrong. Like, it's like she relies on, you know, trying to be like, I have contacts. I'm like, we are all like, I have seen fluctuations with people seeing my content, even if I cover the same thing. Like I've covered the Sophie story, although this will be my third time talking about her. I have made 2 videos, like just videos dedicated to that story. And my first video way outperformed my second video. And my second video had more information and better information in it, in my opinion. In different regions in the US, the native speakers speak at different speeds. Yeah, that's true. And we all sound different with our accents, depending on where you're from. YouTube doesn't check for bots. I know this because of the Susie Lou debacle. I've heard of her. I've never watched her. What debacle happened? There are programs that check for dead accounts and such. The expensive views/subs stick around and are actual people, so they're more convincing. I'm interested to know how much. I know you can buy this stuff, but I buy subs, buy views, buy whatever, but I'm interested to know how much it actually costs. Like, what is the range of cost of it? I know Sloan's said he's looked at it and provided some different costs, but I'm curious to know like how much money she might actually be spending if that's what she's doing, or what anybody may actually be spending if they're doing that. I don't know if someone was saying that to defend Katie, but yeah, YouTube is really bad with actually doing work. Karening to Team YouTube. Her contacts are everyone else's channel. Yeah. She's super she loves it. Makes her feel like she does feel like she's a bad bitch. I do get that vibe from her. Does she know you're talking about her right now? You know, I don't know. And to be quite frank with you, I could care less if she knew I was talking about her. I'm a small channel compared to hers. So the way Katie operates, I doubt she would address me just like she did with the Brit stuff, because one of her best friends, Unirock, who went on a live and destroyed It's Brit Glow and Eyeshadow Island for no fucking reason and made total dickwads of themselves. Later in a live of Katie's, I saw somebody ask if she knew who Brit Glow was, and she was like, I don't know who you're talking about. I'm like, fuck you. Yes, you do. You were in his live. I have screenshots of her donating money, her and her husband donating money to Uni during that live, and the stuff her husband said, and the stuff she was okay with them saying about these 2 women. fuck off. Like, who are you? And why would you let your alleged friends say stuff like this when you try to say you're such an activist and stuff? You let two grown ass men, this pisses me off, I'm sorry, but she was okay with two grown ass men saying terrible things about women who were giving her legitimate criticism, but were being assholes and deceptive in the way that they produced that video to that audience, live or not. They had pre-watched those videos and they knew where they were going to stop the video and clip everything out and say the nasty things that they did. They are disgusting people. And if they are married, I know one of them is, you know, gay. I'm cool with that. But if they have significant others, I should say, if they have partners, I feel bad for your partners because you guys made asses of yourselves. There are tiers, but I think they start at 50 and go up from there. Okay. I mean, that's not a whole lot. The cheap bot accounts will show up, then drop off. These are easily detectable by YouTube, but when you buy these, people will buy those when they try to get up a brand. Oh, really? That was disgusting. Yeah. Sorry, I know I kind of went off on a tangent with that stuff, but that instantly pisses me off. Mysterious T showed it. She was debunking everything. I think I saw that video from Mysterious T. Neither are married. Well, I know one of them has kids because he talked about having kids, which, never mind. I'm not even going to say that. That would be, I would be pulling a Katie if I made that comment, so I'm not going to. I know she was. I went to her live, Organized Chaos. After that live, at the very end of it, I missed like the last 5 minutes of Uni's live because I got the notification she went live and I wanted to know what kind of foolery she was doing. And she was like, I'm going to have it on members only chat because they said that that's something I do. I'm like, obviously it is. You just did it last night because you know if you had normal chat on, whatever bullshit excuse, you can tell I'm mad because I keep cussing, I'm sorry, whatever excuse that Uni wanted to say for having members only on is just an excuse. You use members only when you are afraid of getting the legitimate truth from your following. And the fact that you silence your following is atrocious. And then he said, well, after it's posted, people can publish their opinions. Not true. We have evidence from that. Mysterious T on Twitter just posted last night how it was 130 comments down to 80 comments because she went through and she filtered them. So fuck you, Uni. First time I hear grown ass. Yeah, don't talk like that if you're just learning English because I'm not, like I said, I'm probably not the person for you to learn from because I curse constantly and I'm getting a little bit upset and like mad. So it only gets, I can't filter myself as much. Yes, Mysterious T does use receipts and Mysterious T is very authentic in how they like provide and display the information, unlike Katie, because you can see in videos like last night's, you can provide receipts, but depending on what information and what context you provide can sway what that receipt is actually supposed to be reflective of. I just want to say that. That's part of the reason I don't do receipts on my channel. The other part is I can't edit. I mean, I'll be honest, for the new people here, I can't edit, which is why it's taken me a whole day and a half to get my nail video out. Yeah, I've heard that stuff, Organized Chaos. I'm not trying to ignore that comment. I don't know anything about the Steve stuff. I know there's been issues and stuff like that. I've seen little bits and videos about it, but I don't know the nuts and bolts of that. No, if Susie, I honestly think it would be the other way around. She has a power dynamic and she's the one who would be the one on top. Look at how she talks to her husband. Look at how she talks to her child. That is somebody who is the one in control. If you look at the power and control wheel, I don't have that concern for her. He has a girlfriend. Her name is Rachel. I feel so bad for her. I would not want to be in a relationship with somebody like that. She had 2 episodes and say there's going to be a third. The third will be about Eyeshadow Island, but the first 2 were about Brit. Yeah, I messaged both of them when I went into that and let them both know that I thought it wasn't going to be a good video for them, that I had figured it was going to be some foolery for them to prepare. And they both kind of confirmed that in videos when they addressed it. And then Uni said Kyle can say, yeah, he did make that comment, and that immediately sent up red flags, I think, to almost everybody, that it was going to be, he was going to be mean. They didn't listen to either one of their videos, Mama Wolf. Like, they specifically had watched both videos prior to, and I think they both had written down what parts they were going to talk about. I don't talk about politics, blue blood. That shouldn't matter. It's not part of my content. You may never want to know what's going on behind that, but I'm unbiased and I've watched for a long time. I could drop clips and screenshots that would make everything make sense. Yeah, I know that stuff's like wrapping up, so I don't care to really know. Like, let the courts handle it. We'll figure out the outcome, and hopefully everybody who's covered it and who knows about it, like Little Red and everybody like that, can move on from at least that part in that chapter. I don't mind you asking that question, Blue Blood. As I've mentioned with some other individuals who've come into the chat, the person we're talking about has a history of sending their viewers to be trolls in other channels, but I'm not going to talk about politics. Kyle was ordered to turn it over back in the winter, and he's technically in contempt of court. It will be dealt with on Wednesday. I heard the court date was coming up. They skipped over. Yeah, they skipped over every point. They literally went to the points where they weren't providing. That's Paisley, if you can hear her. Sorry, my husband came home. Stop barking. Get them out of here now that you're home. It's okay. I guess they didn't get stuck. That image never downloaded, so I have no idea what she was referring to. They made it a point. Yeah, exactly. They definitely did. I haven't seen what Janelle did to Katie on Instagram. Like I said earlier, I don't like Janelle, so I don't follow her. Ames, no, he deleted it like the next day. He did not leave it up probably because of the backlash both of them were getting. Because you could have been a Katie fan and listened to what they said to these 2 ladies, and it was disgusting. And they left their channels in, and they just intentionally disliked the videos when they started them for the live. Like, they were just being super, super childish, honestly. I know you guys are eager for a resolution. Although I don't know what's going on entirely, I know that it's like really built up for people who are involved and who has known what's going on. And I just hope that it has like the best outcome for the people who deserve it. Janelle posted the video of when Katie said she wants to. Oh. She said disabled kid proms are disgusting. I've never seen that video. That's interesting because she wants to be an advocate for her own son who's special needs, correct? She went balls to the wall over David just a little bit ago. A little bit today, or like within recent months? Hound dog? No, it's a husky. I have 2 huskies and a chocolate lab. Let me see if I can make my notifications on my phone go away. Make sure it's not going to unlock. Those are 2 of my dogs. The smaller one here is the one that was just howling. Her name's Paisley. They're like babies. They get excited. Yeah, she talks whenever anybody comes home after they've been gone. That's the only time she does that. Or if you start playing with her, she'll do it. They infuriated everyone. Yeah, they did. They infuriated even her followers because it was disgusting behavior. Yeah, she's silly. Thank you. I appreciate that. They are pains. If you don't have huskies and you're interested in it, they are a very high maintenance breed in a number of ways. Love them to death, though. Yes, they are Siberian Huskies. I also have a chocolate lab who I don't have a good picture of because he's 2 and all over the place. David was having goat for dinner and now he is a more horrible human, according to her. Who, Katie? Because he had goat? Our Great Dane tries her best. See, I want a Great Dane. That's my dream dog, but I have agreed with my husband we will not own a Great Dane until we are settled down and own a home. It is you are right, organized chaos. It is very easy to get the wrong breed of dog. It all is going to depend on your time, your dedication, where you live, what kind of environment you live in, if you have a backyard, if you're in an apartment. Doesn't most of the world outside of the US eat goat? I don't know. I mean, I'm not that worldly. I don't think goat is a weird thing to eat, though. We eat goat cheese, like that's normal to eat, and goat milk. So why would their meat be any different? That's weird. That's a weird thing to me. And how would what he eats make him a horrible person? I don't understand her sentiment on that. Okay, they are common to eat across the world. That's not surprising to me. I thought the same thing. Don't most Indian dishes contain goat? I mean, it's game meat. People exactly like what? I get that people can have goats as pets. My in-laws do or did. I can't remember. Had at one point they at least had. I don't know if they still have any goats, but yeah, I know it's been 3 hours. I was about to check and see when Little Red's stream is coming up because once hers goes, I'm probably gonna get off because I want to watch her stream. Where's it at? Yeah, so her stream starts in 11 minutes, it's saying. So I will probably. This is my longest live stream. Most of my others have only been an hour and a half, close to 2 hours. I think I had one at 1 hour and 45 minutes. The problem with this one and for anybody who came in late, the first hour and a half of this video is me breaking down the I Stand with Sophie movement from a professional standpoint and providing both sides. I really didn't talk about Katie until after that and provided my opinion about her covering this and how she covered it. Did I reference her in the first half? I did. I referenced a YouTuber. I didn't call her out because it wasn't pertinent at that time. I was trying to stay really level-headed to get the accurate information I know out. So if you are interested in that movement, if you are interested after being in here the last half in how I feel about it and my professional standpoint, feel free to watch it. I always post my live streams afterwards. I will post this one. It may take a while. Sometimes it takes some time for it to kick back up. So I don't know how long it'll take, being as this is a lot longer than my other ones, but it will be up eventually. I appreciate that, Organized Chaos. And if you're new here, this is the kind of way I talk to my subscribers. This is my kind of content. I've kind of talked about it. I have a few different playlists and some videos outside of playlists because I need to reorganize my channel. If you're interested and haven't already, just go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I will probably continue to do lives. Since I was able to go live and figured it out, I've gone live almost every day. I don't know if I'm going to continue that. I'm going into a work week tomorrow, and my work weeks just depend on what gets thrown at me. Eating goat is a lot like eating deer, but not gamey. Ooh, I like deer. That is what I like about you and Britt. You give so much respect to others, and then you also are super classy about promoting and listening to other creators. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not here. I think it's very easy for a viewer to see when the person they are watching is genuine. Like, I genuinely want to provide you guys content you want. Don't get that misconstrued, though. I am going to continue to post content I want. And the content I want to post is the more educational, telling my story and things like that. But I want to have a community, and not everybody is comfortable with viewing that content. And I'm aware of that. And that's why I've broken that part of my content into a playlist. You've heard goat is really, I don't think I've ever had goat. And I don't mind Mama Wolf. And I haven't seen a couple of you guys in my lives or any of my comment sections before. If there's ever something you want me to talk about, or you're interested in knowing the professional system of it, if you let me know, I'll do that. I haven't done any videos like that. This was the first one where I kind of alluded more to what kind of work I have done. He is bragging about it being their pet goat, Elvis, in a video. Well, that's a little weird. That's a little weird, Rebecca. If that's the context of it, that is a little weird, especially given the only way I can see that Katie would kind of have a backbone in that is the stuff with the dog that happened. And then if he's going to do that, like, that's kind of questionable behavior. However, from anything I've heard and seen, he is a perpetrator of DV, amongst other things. So it's not really surprising that he would do stuff like that. And that's Janelle's choice if she wants to remain married to somebody like that. I caught this halfway through. I really did enjoy her insight. Thank you, Ames. I appreciate all of you guys being open and like giving me a shot and listening to what I had to say. I really do appreciate that. Exactly what Jen said. If that was the stance he was taking, then yeah, Katie kind of may have a leg to stand on. Again, though, it would boil down to how she decided to represent that information. It's not common for farmers to name the animals they plan to eat. I don't think so. Not if they plan on eating them. If they're like breeding animals, I think they do. You can't eat Bambi. That's okay. I just spit. I'm sorry. I understand. I've never been able to be the one to do the action to be able to eat said animal. I can't think of it in that way, because if I do, then I think I would end up being a vegan or a vegetarian, because I would just feel terrible if I thought of my food in that manner. But I have family who hunt, and they provide that meat, and it's good. But I understand people not being able to. I believe you, Rebecca. I believe that that's how he did that, because, like I said, he is a perpetrator of some pretty poor behavior. And, you know, as much as people don't want to believe it, perpetrators, it is a mental thing. It doesn't mean they can't learn how to cope with it in better ways, but it is something mentally that they need to deal with. KJ has a problem with hunters. What does KJ not have a problem with? That is more the question. Unless you're kissing her ass, she's going to have a problem with absolutely everything. You're not sappy and block people because no, I don't. I actually encourage people who have a differing opinion or a different viewpoint to start that in the conversation, because that's how conversations happen. You agree with me? I think a lot of people know that about David. Well, that's weird. That makes it even more weird if that's the kind of goat he ate. They are super small. I think she is afraid to leave. If she knew he would be locked up and stay locked up, she would leave. Well, if she was smart, he could have been. From what it seems like, not only involving the kids allegedly, I don't know what came of that CPS case. I know that they got reunified eventually, but there was enough information at one point for the children to be removed from the home. And no matter which way you want to read those documents, there is an or there. It is not an and, it is an or. So it's either or. It's not both. It could have been both, but it would have been that court document would have been worded differently. Yeah, I agree with you, Organized Chaos. I think he is too. And I never watched the show, so I don't know how he portrays himself. But from information I've seen from watching Without a Crystal Ball, and like seeing the stuff with Janelle and how she's popped off, I've kind of looked at it a little bit, and I don't think he should be with anybody, especially have kids with anybody, but no, I agree with you, Ames. And, you know, her going after somebody like Janelle may be the end of her. And I don't mean that to be funny or to like gain people's like, good on ya. I mean that genuinely. Janelle can be nasty. And Janelle has more clout, whether Katie wants to agree with that or not. And I mean, Katie can get on her Instagram live and tell Janelle that being on YouTube is different from mainstream media. I mean, she was preaching to herself. She really should have been preaching to herself in that whole video and do a little bit of self-reflection, in my opinion. But Janelle's got her beat, and she's going to see that eventually. Like Janelle, if she doesn't let up on Janelle, I think that she's going to get the brunt end of it. Like Katie worries about being doxxed all the time, and I understand nobody should be doxxed. I totally agree that nobody should be doxxed. Nobody should ever be threatened. It's never that serious. It's never that serious. So for new people who have come in, if you've ever been the person, not the people in the chat, but anybody who's silently watching, because my numbers keep coming up and down, never, ever, 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 ever participate in that. If you do not be on my channel at all. because it's not conducive to any situation to dox people or to threaten people or to send message that they should off themselves. That behavior is never okay. It doesn't do anything for any situation. She doesn't cover a single, well, she said, you know, I did hear her say recently that she doesn't mind watching the Duggar stuff, like the Fundy stuff, or however she refers to it, that she actually doesn't mind watching that content because she finds it interesting. Yeah, I agree, Jen. I hope she can get away safely if she wants to. I mean, Janelle's a strong girl. Like, from what I've always seen of her and clips I've seen of her, like, she seems to be a pretty headstrong woman. So it could be a scenario where they're both kind of in that headspace. Like, they both can be a little bit aggressive. So I don't know. I'm reading the comment from Organized Chaos that she said you can drink a gallon of water before a drug test to dilute the urine. I've never known of that to happen. And again, I conduct UAs. I have for 3.5 years, and they're the instant UAs. The only time I've ever had one come up diluted is if somebody has dunked the cup in the water, like in the toilet water. I've never had somebody actually urinate in the cup and it come up diluted. I don't know where she got that information. Maybe it depends on the test being used, but I have never had that happen in my professional career. She needs to go. Trust me. I just wonder why she would stay. She has to hit her load to go. Hopefully it won't be in a body bag. Yeah. She's pretty feisty. So I hope that never happens. I believe it too. Janelle is about to have thousands of people go over to Katie's channel and attack her. Then Katie will go live and cry and say, my life is, I should not laugh at that. However, it's telling behavior of the cycle that is Katie Joy. Unfortunately, she does do that. Anytime she gets any backlash, she hops on live super upset saying her life is threatened. I'm not saying her life has never been threatened. I'm sure it has. I don't know, again, why people are doing that in the first place, but I don't know why she is almost acknowledging the haters. And I've said this in other videos I've made about her, especially in the reality check of her and BX Beast Boy in that situation that I did. I talked about her reacting to stuff when she shouldn't, because she is just feeding those individuals by acknowledging it. You'll need to look it up. I watched the video on another channel and it's very weird and there's a trigger warning. Yeah. I mean, I might go watch it just for sake of knowing, but I never intend, unless Katie continues down this path. My lives always end up talking about Katie and her current antics. So I might go watch it for future videos in case you want to talk about it in another live, Rebecca. I will do that for you. What is doxed? So doxed is when people release, like when a YouTuber or some kind of public figure releases another individual's private information, like their address or their legal name, if they're not using their legal name, to their audience without consent. It's illegal to do and it's dangerous to do. No, that's not true. Not when it's for the court. For jobs, yes, you can. It's different testing. Yeah, I've never had that happen. Thank you, Jen, for hopping on that and also providing the definition. You're not, yeah, I don't blame people for not wanting to see it, but I understand why Rebecca is saying to watch it. She would use Who would use? Are you talking about Katie or Janelle, Amanda? Because I didn't know Katie was ever involved in DV. I know she alluded in her telling her story that she's had previous relationships which weren't healthy and alluded to that. But other than that, I've never heard her talk about that. So I'm not sure if you're meaning her or Janelle. When I went to therapeutic clinic after a car accident, they made you wait and go take it again. That's really weird. I have not had that issue. I wonder what kind of cups they're using. I know there's different kinds of cups that you can get on the market for businesses. So I wonder what those are. Yeah, I understand for people who don't want to watch the video. Katie, if she has backlash. I missed Jay's comment. Court testing is way more detailed. Yeah, well, and that varies. It depends if they send them to a lab or not, Jay. If you go to a lab and get tested through a lab, then yes, it will show the milligrams. It will show everything in your urine. So, and I would think if it was going to be if the judge is asking for it, it may go through that process. But in my previous work, if a parent wasn't willing to provide a sample for us when we were out in the field, we would address it with the judge. If it went to court action, and the judge would order that they take one of our tests, and our tests were portable ones that we had that did not get sent to the lab unless the client wanted to pay the $20 to send it to a lab for testing. And I can tell you they never wanted to send it to a lab for testing because what they tested for was always in their system and they were just trying to deny it. Katie, okay. Yeah, so I didn't know about the DV stuff. I know she has used her son, and I don't know. I've seen you in my lives before, Amanda, but I don't know if you ever caught that part. Her kid is one thing I'm not going to talk about. We all have our own assumptions and opinions. However, unlike her, I don't stoop to those levels to judge people. There's things that are questionable on how she handles and does stuff, but I personally am not going to talk about them. I don't mind if you guys do in the comment section because I don't monitor on what you guys say, but I'm personally not going to cover that. I have noticed that that does happen. She cries anytime she gets heavy hate. She has a pattern of what she will do, just like she has a pattern for the topics that she covers. She has a pattern for how she handles that stuff as well. An inconclusive test may be for taking things like Benadryl or promethazine. It can show up as meth if you've taken pseudoephedrine in cold medicines. It can if you've taken quite a bit of pseudoephedrine, I can never say that word more than once, right? And that's because that is an ingredient made in meth. So that's why. And it's not like you take one pill and you're going to test positive typically. So from my professional experience, that's what I'm saying. Because if you want to take that route, if you drink a whole bunch of Red Bull, if you want to have that argument, and I'm not saying you do, I'm just throwing this out there. If people want to ever have that argument with you, like, oh, I had a pseudoephedrine, so that's why I'm positive for meth, there's always follow-up questions like, well, how much meds did you take? Because if you're taking the recommended dosage on the box, you're not going to end up positive. It's the same thing with drinking some energy drinks. If you drink a whole lot of them in an unhealthy amount, they can make you test positive for amphetamines, depending on the kind of energy drink you're drinking. So I've You know, clients will sometimes, or people in the past that I've dealt with will sometimes say, oh, well, I just had a Red Bull. It's not going to be positive while you're drinking it. It's not. Yes, meth is a huge problem here in the US. So is heroin. Opiates, we're in a huge opioid epidemic. Huge. Why we have to have driver's license to buy cold meds. Yep. To prove you're of age and to keep record of how many you have bought and what kind of time frame. That can be why it can flag as inconclusive, is what I'm doing a crappy job explaining. I can flag barely, but not so much that it is considered a failed screen. I've never done drugs. Unless you want to consider alcohol a drug, I will drink alcohol occasionally. I used to smoke cigarettes. Those are the only two bad things I've ever done in my life. I've never done drugs. And a lot of that is because of my upbringing. I understand you don't. I teeter the line on if alcohol is a drug. There's very good arguments, both good and bad, that I can have with other people and myself. So I don't drink alcohol regularly, though. So I did read your comment, organized chaos. I get what you're trying to say. And it came through in your comment too. I was just talking on it more for people who are in the chat. No, I have not smoked marijuana. My biological mother was a hardcore drug addict. And it resulted in me being in foster care, which is state care here, for 10 years of my life. So I have not done drugs. I understand why people, okay, let me clarify. I have not done drugs. I have not smoked marijuana. I want to clarify. I don't judge people who smoke marijuana, especially if it's in a legal way. I know people who smoke weed. I don't have any issues with it. I just personally, due to my personal morals and things I have gone through as a child, I will not. I don't judge anybody for anything. Especially for situations like that, Amanda. Like, it is proven to help rheumatoid arthritis and fibromyalgia. I understand it being used medicinally and even in some circumstances socially. I understand that. I don't think anything is wrong with that. Can you abuse it? 100%. Well, and Jen, if you want to go the extra mile, it's illegal federally, so technically it should be illegal everywhere, but states have passed it to be legal. Oh, Little Red is on? Okay. So guys, I appreciate everybody who is still here. If you joined late and you want to see the first half of this, you can go ahead and do that. It might take a little while to render. If you're leaving here to go watch Little Red, I totally understand. You can come back to my channel again. If you came in, I appreciate everybody. If you haven't already, I would appreciate it if you subscribed. And I have other videos on all of these topics we've talked about. You just have to go through my commentary section or through my lives. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, evening, or night, wherever you are. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys. Jay, I am going to go because I want to watch Little Red stream. That's why I'm not going to stay on. Bye, guys.